Blank check with Griffin and David. Blank check with Griffin and David. Don't know what to say or to expect. All you need to know is that the name of the show is Blank Check.
It's Just You and Me Now podcast.
Like, to advertise this movie with "It's Just You and Me Now" sport.
Yeah.
Like, if I go to see this movie thinking it's going to be that tagline, not what I expected.
The context clues are the movie's called Manhunter. You're assuming there is a manhunt.
Sure.
So you're like, I can kind of see how that fits in, but the line on its own isn't like,
it sounds like something you say at like a golf game.
It's a grandfather where you don't call anybody sport. That's like Peter Fox. Like, here, I'm going to show you how to play baseball kind of movie.
For a second, I thought he was going back to Florida with his family.
Just You and Me Now sport. Like, you would say that during a chess match, right?
Right. The other one I was going to do.
An amateur chess match. Not even a high stakes one. Right. If you said that during a high stakes one, the guy would be like, huh? Sport?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Call me an asshole.
Even if you said that in like a Washington Square Park chess match, they'd be like, you don't deserve to be at this table. This table that is often occupied by homeless people.
And he's talking to someone who murders and bites people.
It's a little casual.
Hey, sport.
I'll say. Hey, sport. It's You and Me Now. The other one was, and if one does what podcast does enough times, one will become as podcast is.
That's pretty good.
Is he trying?
Do you see?
Yes. What is he trying to be not Scottish in this?
Yeah.
He's got the weird inflections.
A little bit.
He smooths out his accent. As time goes on, he becomes...
He's
someone
a
who
weird accent guy. Because him in X2,
yes,
he's doing like sort of a southern accent.
Right.
But half the time you're like, wait, is this guy supposed to be... Like, he's it's halfway.
I was burning villages in Nam while you were still sucking on your mother's teat.
He does say that.
He does. He has that thing kind of like Liam Neeson, where even when he's playing an American, you're like...
He's not American, right?
Right. This doesn't sound like an American talks.
Right. It's like, is he a Scottish guy who like moved to Kentucky like when he was 35? Like that's the only way I can explain this.
Right. In any Liam Neeson movie where he's like, I was born in Louisiana.
But every single person who has played Hannibal Lecter is not American.
Correct.
Hannibal Lecter is American, I guess, but he's eventually you realize he's from Europe, I guess.
Welsh,
Lithuania,
right?
If the TV show is to be believed,
yes, that's right.
Right, but the rundown is Welsh, Scottish, French,
and
Danish.
Mads is Danish, right?
Yeah. Okay, so we were talking about this yesterday, and I'll introduce the show in about 45 minutes.
Yeah, sure, we'll get to it. Yeah.
But David and I, blew our load a little bit, but now we have two guests to discuss this with. How weird it is that Hannibal Lecter is a franchise.
Yeah.
And I know that this movie is the one that's like outside of the continuity.
It counts.
Yeah.
Well, the name is spelled differently.
Yeah, spell it differently.
So it's just a double, right? There's like another Lecter?
Right. And I think because we were going over, there's the weird thing where Dino De Laurentiis is producer on every Hannibal Lecter movie other than the one that won Best Picture.
Right.
And I think it's
sense.
because they misspelled it in this. I think there was some loophole.
I can probably look up what the vagaries of why he doesn't own the rights to the Silence of the Lambs are. Like, it's something to do with that.
He had to give permission where he was like, you can use the characters because I'm not going to make another Thomas Harris movie.
Right. They're all different books. So maybe he didn't own the rights to just that Silence of the Lambs.
I don't know. But then Dino De Laurentiis was sort of just like, hey, you want to take my advice? Don't make a Hannibal Lecter movie. It always loses money.
He owned...
And then they made Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. I think it's just that he may have just owned Red Dragon.
Weird.
I don't know, though. Because didn't he produce Hannibal? Hannibal?
And Hannibal Rising.
Is for sure.
Yeah.
Hannibal's terrible,
Yeah,
right?
he did. It is terrible.
Yes,
well, that's the thing I was talking about with Griffin. One, that it's crazy that it's a franchise in Hollywood that there's a psychiatrist who eats people.
Right.
And he's like kind of a middle-aged gentleman.
Right.
Two, it's insane that the guy who's most iconic for it, Hopkins, only is in one good movie, and the other good things are not Hopkins. And people like those too.
Yeah.
Well, I think Anthony Hopkins is a pretty good actor, and he's
a
done
good actor.
other good movies.
He's
he's only been in one good movie.
No, I'm saying his
One
other
good
Lecters.
Hannibal movie.
okay.
Come
other
on.
Lecters are bad. Like, no one's like, I love Red Dragon. Ratner really knocked it out of the park. Like, people are like, oh, it's okay.
I've met people who think that.
That's insane.
Really?
People who are like, that's his good movie, don't you know? I'm like, no, it isn't.
I mean, is it Ratner's good movie? I guess
can
he
make
didn't,
that argument.
He didn't fuck it up. Like, it's okay.
That was that run where Ratner was like, what if I was classy? And everyone's like, Brett, you don't have to even try.
When are you guys doing Ratner on the show?
Oh, boy. I mean,
pitched him.
Right.
In my opinion, he is the definitive opposite of our show. Because he never really got a blank check. He was a total journeyman guy who a studio would be like, come in and only do an adequate job, and if you push back with us at all, fuck you. Right?
Yeah, and you know what's interesting,
and
actually?
Ratner was like, I'm not pushing back, baby. This sounds great.
He did have a couple blank check projects that never get made.
Oh, really?
Like his totally ill-advised Hugh Hefner biopic that he wanted to make forever and ever and ever.
I'm sure that would go. He should make that now. He should make that now. That would kill.
Ocean's 11 was supposed to be his blank check. He developed Ocean's 11.
Right.
And then he dropped out to do Superman. And then got fired off of Superman.
Right.
But he like always had this resentment that Soderbergh got to take it to the finish line. Yeah, he was like, I wanted to do Downey Jr. Hugh Hefner, which would have been a nightmare movie.
Yep. You know what his best thing is?
Brett Ratner?
Yeah.
Rush Hour 1.
The Prison Break pilot. That's the best thing he's ever directed, in my opinion. Yeah. I love that pilot. It's such a good pilot.
He's one of those guys where it's like...
You guys can weigh in on Brett Ratner's best work.
I mean, I don't have it in front of me. I mean, it would have to be... I didn't hate Red Dragon, so I guess it does have to be that.
I'm kind of leaning that way, too, because Brett Ratner just doesn't make the movies I like. But now McG, guys. That is a blank check candidate, if I ever heard of one.
We could do McG.
We could do McG.
I think it would be boring.
And the drop-off recently, it's like he did that like Netflix.
The Netflix Bella Thorne movie?
Yeah.
Oh, man. What's it called? It's called
The
Babysitter.
Right. And he did the Haley Steinfeld, The Cause movie.
Right?
He did that one?
3 Days to Kill?
Correct.
Not good. Not good.
Yeah.
This Means War? Not so good.
But they both had that thing.
I just got that you're talking about Kevin Costner
I'm
and
trying
not
to take
Bill
it back.
Cosby.
I'm trying to take it back. I'm trying to rebrand it. I think someone in the world should be called The Cause, and Kevin Costner still rules.
You know what the best thing... No, you know what? He didn't direct the OC pilot. He just developed the OC. I was about to say McGee's best thing
Lyman
is the OC
directed
pilot,
the
but
OC
Doug
pilot?
Lyman directed it.
Didn't he do Fastlane?
Yes, that was a McG. He does a lot of TV. Right. He did like the Lethal Weapon remake that has lost every actor. like everyone keeps quitting and they're like, we're going to keep making this for some reason.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. No. All facts.
Okay. Yes.
I do love that, like the McG Ratner parallel thing where they're like, okay, but seriously, I'm a serious director. Like they both went through those phases where they were doing all this press where they're like, I know it's easy to dunk on me and I'm a music video guy and I'm kind of a greasy goofball.
And I call myself McG.
Right. Right, but do you remember when he was doing like Terminator Salvation press?
Yeah.
And he was like, look, James Cameron wasn't James Cameron when he made Piranha. It was Terminator that like... And I'm saying, I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like this is going to be my Terminator. And they were like, Terminator Salvation is your Terminator?
It is your Terminator.
It is. I mean
that's what it is. It's
Right.
your Terminator.
Right, and he did We Are Marshall.
He did. That was him trying to be serious.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, you know, the whole thing with that movie is that he hates planes. He refuses to fly. So he made it because he was like, this is the movie that like reaffirms my belief that planes are evil.
It's the one thing I'm fully on board with McG.
An entire football team.
You could do it back to back with Lars von Trier now, right?
Another no plane guy.
Yeah. Just no plane podcast. Plane check.
McG was hired to do Superman when Ratner got fired, had a green light, and they said, but you have to film it in Australia. And he quit the movie.
Total respect. As someone who is a major, I hate planes.
I'm not a fan of him either. I do remember something about like right when he was, I think it was Charlie's Angels. He was doing press for that. Mm-hmm. And somebody actually asked him, like, is it McG or MCG? Uh-huh. And he got really angry.
He was like, fuck you.
Like,
it's clearly McG.
Yeah, it's McG because people would confuse him with MC Gainey.
Right.
He just like got like the sweats and you could tell he was kind of pissed off by it, but it was like, it's McG.
I wish his name was MCG. I think I'd have more respect if he was a director named MCG. I just remember he like, when he was doing the Terminator press once again, he was like, you know, I make one mistake in my life. I register with the DGA as McG, and I'll never live it down.
Introduce the show.
Yes, this, of course, is Plane Check. It's a podcast about directors who are afraid to board commercial airlines. No, it's not. I'm goofing.
You're goofing.
I'm goofing, spoofing. It's a podcast about filmographies. Directors who have massive success early on in their career give a series of blank checks to make whatever crazy passion projects they want. And sometimes those checks clear, and sometimes they bounce baby, and then sometimes someone just doesn't make a movie for 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7 years.
Yes, a full 7.
Wow.
And then comes back and is like, cool, I'm only doing $100 million movies now.
Right. Right. Even though I've never made a hit.
Right.
Yeah. But I did make, I guess, what's it called?
Miami Vice.
Miami
Vice.
Right.
Right. But he's a weird guy. I mean, it's like we've covered James L. Brooks on this podcast, who's another guy who got his check from doing TV.
Yeah.
But it was like he had to really fight from going from TV to film. And then it was like no return. And
man makes 3 movies and he's like, all right, I'm gonna go back and make some more TV.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make Crime Story.
Right.
I'm all in on Farina. Farina's my guy.
Who wouldn't be so fucking ugly?
You should explain what
I told this, of course, our guests today are Eric and Chris from We Hate Movies. We've completed the collection.
Hello. Yes, now we are owned by Blank Check.
That's unfortunately how it works.
Right.
We don't tell anyone.
Leverage buyout. Yeah.
We're going to be under the desk for the remainder of at least Michael Mann.
Well, you're the fatalist. I'm looking for a good shelf. I'm hoping a good shelf for me.
I think top shelf for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to compliment you today, Chris.
Thank
I don't
you.
do it often on our show. So.
We're going to make We Hate Movies our sort of black label.
Ooh.
You know, our luxury brand.
Go on. It's your bit.
I can't go any further with
Okay,
that.
fine. I thought you had more. You're good at the like steelbook talk, like all the sort of like variant edition talk.
Black Series.
Black Series. But, ooh.
What was it? Oh no, Signature, right? That's the new
Signature. That's the new
Signature
Disney,
edition,
right?
Or
because they went through all the
medals are out.
Gold, platinum,
Right.
then they went to diamond.
Right.
So now we're back to just like ink on paper.
It's just Walt's signature. And they'll be like, it's the Lion King signature edition. And like after he was 30 years dead, that's
They made a movie about lions? What are you talking about? Lions don't talk. Why does Walt Disney talk like this?
They took his frozen hand out of the cryo chamber and then just had it signed.
Is it his whole body or is it just his head? I think there's been conflicting reports.
I thought it was the head.
I think the popular belief is it's just the head. I hope it's
like a Terminator
just
arm
the body.
with it.
Just cool.
That'd be great. Get that head out
And
of
then
here.
Michael Eisner's deal was like, you add my head when I die.
Oh,
we create a Disney
Frankenstein.
CEO, Frankenstein.
Walt Disney famously rockin' bod. The guy was caught.
The man was our inspiration. Oh boy.
Has anyone ever suggested before that maybe Walt was Zaddy? Is that? I mean, can I propose that perhaps?
As someone who barely knows what Zaddy is, sure.
Murder me, Walt.
Was Zaddy? Yeah, murder. Walt Disney pushed me.
Walt Disney.
All right,
I
come
like
on.
Push me. I like how innocuous.
It's Becca Bollness.
Yes.
Yeah. Like just
Full
blank
respect.
name push me. But
Right.
because Nicholas Hoult pushes Emma Stone in The Favorite.
Which is certainly very hot.
It is. It's pretty hot.
It's very
Gives her a
hot.
push.
It's a good push.
Is there a difference between Zaddy and Daddy, or is it just more intense?
It's just this thing where, like, the second the lame people on the internet start co-opting the cool lingo,
He has to be
we
added.
have
like-
to pervert this further.
change like 3 words and make it oblique so that people can't use it for another 4 months.
Right.
Like, we got to stay ahead of them somehow.
And if it's on blank check, that means it's time to change it again. I would say, like, someone just heard that we used the word zaddy, and they're like, all right, wrap it up. We're gonna find some new word.
With that, I want to make an official announcement that I've been holding on to for a little while. I'm officially adding on fleek to my blank check repertoire. It's just gotten rotten enough.
I
wait for
putrid rotten.
That's actually a good idea.
That's my
like
thing.
5 years old.
I wait for that point.
Right,
you know?
right.
Language is cyclical. That's why most people speak Old English.
And on fleek was an experiment for me of like, how long can I age this whiskey in the barrel?
Well, now you're going to see, like, Twitter, it's going to be on Zleek or something like that.
Sure.
Right, and I will wait 5 years to start using that. The second a thing has like
you let it ferment on the shelf, you go to the top shelf, you pull down on fleek, and what are other youthful expressions of a bygone era?
Cool people use it. Then journalism Twitter uses
Yes.
it. Then like parents and comedy people start using it ironically. Then people start ironically using people using it ironically.
Right.
Then I wait 5 months.
Then you're in.
Then I use it.
And you become a new cool person.
Yes.
To then kick it all off.
Right,
again.
that's my movement. It's the new cool.
What's our miniseries called? I'm sorry that I keep thinking
yes,
you do
no,
all
of
the
course.
You know, I'm not into new cool. I'm more of a cool Coca-Cola guy.
Yeah.
The classic.
New Zool.
What?
New Zool. You gotta add a Z onto it.
Clear Zepsi.
Ghostbusters 3
I was
will
about to
have
say,
new
is that
no
like
one's
Bill
cooler than
Maher, like talking to the Ghostbusters? He's
No
like, New
one.
Zool. I don't know. Right? All right. Thank you. Thank you.
New Zool. If you're gonna have a flat top, you better be wearing a onesie with weird sculptural bubbles all over it.
Good.
New Zool. If you got 2 dog sculptures, you better make them come to life.
Keep going. Whatever.
I don't know. What else could I do with New Zool?
You can introduce the podcast
Okay,
miniseries.
the podcast
Thank you.
miniseries is called The Cast of the Mohicans.
No, the cast of the Podheekans.
Fuck. It's called Cast of the Podheekans,
Which is
aka
the
Michael
only
Mann.
name we could think of. Right.
The only one. He's got a lot of very short titles.
You didn't think of the Pod Cider?
Yeah, we like to have cast.
We like to get both of them in
All
there.
right.
Right.
Maybe we should drop that.
I don't know.
It's fun that we keep doing it.
It's fun that we keep
It's
doing
very
it.
laborious.
It's fun that we keep doing it.
Yeah, the keyboard game arrived
we
today.
just got the keyboard game.
Very slender volume. I like that.
It's a nice tight little box.
You know how board games these days are these like giant boxes? Yeah.
These kids and their board games.
I like a sleek, slender board
Well,
game.
that's going to come back in style soon enough, right? The sleek ones.
Right.
I think
exactly.
I think
On
it's going to
sleek.
come back on sleek. That was a photo finish.
That was right.
These board names are on sleek.
Photo.
Yeah, these board zames. I'm a zamer. Are you guys zamers?
I don't know what you're talking
You
about.
know exactly what I'm talking about. We now have acquired both the Keep board game and the Keep Dungeons and Dragons role-playing book.
Right, and we're wondering what our next steps are going to be, but there will be next steps.
There will be next steps. Probably rent out Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
See if we can fill it.
Sure.
Not the Hulu Theater.
With what?
No, fuck that.
With, our listeners.
Garbage, fish heads, packed snow. I don't know.
Some tightly packed snow.
Yeah, exactly.
Godzilla eggs.
Godzilla. Yeah, they're in there.
Yeah.
They're somewhere.
Yeah. That's an event I really wish I was at.
Godzilla?
Yes, I wish I was in Godzilla. Specifically 98. No, have you guys read about the Godzilla Madison Square Garden premiere that was apparently like the best premiere of all time?
No.
And everyone walked out of it and they were like, it's the best blockbuster of the last 20 years.
That's like the height of like Hollywood's Gilded Age, where
Yeah.
they're like, we're gonna make movies like this forever. They'll never blow up in our faces.
Right. And it was like jam-packed Madison Square Garden playing Godzilla.
That is quite a place to premiere a movie.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right. And the third act is like them like breaking into Madison Square Garden, going through the eggs, and the audience was cheering, and they had like giant like fucking 15-foot inflatable beach balls, and they were like, it was like
good.
Coachella for Godzilla.
Right.
And everyone came out of it and was like, they've done it. It's not since Spielberg. And
And then everyone saw it was like, what's this piece of shit? Broderick's your lead?
a bunch of critics had to be like, I saw it again.
right.
I redact my previous review.
Look, there were Godzilla beach balls. What did you want me to do?
Yeah, yeah.
I was reviewing the experience.
Right, and people
Right.
were cheering.
Wow, the New York Times has an article. Oh no, the LA Times. Sorry.
Yeah. It was like it was like the peak Hollywood movie premiere.
13,000 people
Yeah.
went to this premiere.
Yeah.
They
That's
all
insane.
loved it.
Christ.
In this movie, this was the one that they had the Mayor Ebert, like, so they're like, they're
Fuck you,
shitting on
Roger
critics.
Ebert. Yes, they're
From-
called
from-
Siskel and Ebert.
And his aide,
His aide
it's
called
Michael
Siskel.
Lerner plays.
Yes.
Right.
Ebert, and he can't stop like eating M&Ms. Like it is the most basic like fat guy evil critic joke.
Right.
Like,
And when
it's-
Siskel quits, he goes like, I'd give you 2 thumbs down.
right, and Ebert reviewed it. He was like, I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like he was not affected by
The
it.
best evil critic joke was in They Live, the John Carpenter film, where they have Ebert and Siskel as aliens in the TV.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
That's a nice little.
That's enough. You don't need to
yeah.
name a character after it.
I also think the nicer one is like Leonard Maltin slams Gremlins, and Joe
Yes.
Dante's like, "Cool, I wrote an under 5 for you. You're playing Leonard Maltin, and you get eaten by Gremlins." But he like let
And he was
him
like,
do
"Sign
it.
me up."
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
It's lighthearted.
yeah.
Manhunter.
Manhunter.
We're talking about
a
the
film
film
very
Manhunter
similar
today.
to Gremlins too.
Yeah,
Kind
I
of.
think so.
You know?
Or is Red Dragon? No, yeah. This is the first Lecter movie. It's not a sequel.
Did you guys watch the show? Hannibal?
Yeah.
No,
I love
I
that
did not.
show.
It's the best show.
It's
I
great.
so did not
It is the
see it.
best show.
If I feel like the show kind of does the story better, maybe. I don't
Does
know.
Red Dragon better? I disagree.
You disagree?
Does this specific story better?
Yeah,
I disagree.
I don't know.
It does a very weird twist because I mean it clearly isn't the same thing, but I actually. I mean, they're just so two different
They're
beasts
very
to me.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like that you get to see Hannibal with
Yes.
Will.
Well, but that's the thing. They had 2 seasons, and then in the 3rd season they did Red Dragon.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was Richard Armitage.
Yeah, and
it was
it's
okay.
and it's not even the full season.
It's like half of a season.
Second half of the
I'm
3rd season.
gonna wait for Hannibal to come out.
Maybe it was just at that point when he shows up and he's got a dragon tattooed on him and he's got a cleft palate, and you're like, I've seen this. Like it's okay.
It
We
is
didn't need to
weird
do this
that
for the
there
3rd
are
time.
specifically 3 adaptations of Red
Of this
Dragon,
book.
which
Yeah.
on its own
a book in
isn't
which
like,
Hannibal is a peripheral character.
right, and it's not like the book is like such a fucking like
It's a
like,
good book.
yeah, but it's not like one of the canonical crime texts, you know?
I would say it is one of the canonical crime.
You really
texts.
think so?
Yes, it kind of invented the idea of like a profiler as a thing.
It was like one of those first big airport novels I remember when
100%.
when I was a kid. Like my parents read the shit of it, and then when I was old enough, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to watch
Interesting.
this. I'm
And
going
like
to read this."
David Foster Wallace is like before he died was very much like Thomas Harris is the greatest American novelist alive. Like
I mean, I
and
think that's a
that
cool
and
take.
Silence of the Lambs
Yeah.
are like 2 of my favorite books.
It also feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this feels like, oh, he was one of the first guys to deal with how fucking upsetting crime is.
Exactly.
And like
Right.
the actual sort of
That
like,
was
He was the
that's his
first
whole
guy
thing. Yeah,
to
yeah.
think
Before
that?
then, everyone was like, "Crime's great." I love it. Would be, no, I think you're right. Like
No,
the
but-
sort
but
of
the grotesquerie.
emotional tax of
crime
of-
horror maybe is
Right,
what I
right,
would say, you know? Like rather than like, I'm sticking you up, you see. You know?
would be funny if Hannibal said that.
And I feel like serial killer movies were more just like,
Did they even exist? I guess Halloween, like, you know, there was a little of that, but it
and
was
there's
still
shit
pretty
like
new.
Dirty Harry where it's like he's like trying to
Sure, the
catch a
Zodiac
right,
type
but
guy,
like this
yeah.
is a movie where it's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like where
Well,
they're just like casually at
it
minute
used to
15,
just-
they're like, is he fucking the bodies or not? You know, like that feels like I have to imagine kind of New Frontier in 1985.
Well, it's also like professionals have to deal with these people.
right.
Right. And like, and it's like a whole job, like within the FBI. Like
Right.
there are people who are like, yeah, I have to figure out why the crazy people behave that way.
Okay, so to zoom out and talk about the weirdness of the Hannibal franchise, the thread I started 45 minutes ago on this podcast, it's weird that these two both get the thing of, oh, the most disturbing and upsetting thing you can do. By these two, I mean Manhunter and Silence of the Lambs. The first 2 adaptations of Thomas Harris are like, the most upsetting thing you can do is make this feel really banal. Like not shoot this like a horror movie,
Right.
not like gussy it up.
Sure.
And just have like people in like shitty fucking fluorescent lit offices
Right.
talking about these horrible fucking acts.
In like suits and ties.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like, oh fuck, these people just have to live in this on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
And Will Graham in this is this amazing performance of just like a guy who's just finally breaking from having to live in this world and think about this shit.
He
too much.
broke.
Right, right,
He's broken.
right. He is broken. Yes.
Right. And yeah.
Right, and then the rest of the movies after this, including like when Ratner wants to do his fucking like, watch me, I can make a serious movie, they become like very sort of like ominous and dark
Yeah. And they're like
and
gothic and graphic.
Right,
you know.
right. And then Hannibal goes in its own direction.
Hannibal is
Right.
like, it's just psychedelic.
Right.
Like, it's like, let's take it all the way. This should be like porn.
Yeah.
Like, but in a great way.
Yeah.
I don't know. You like,
That's-
you're
that's-
with me.
I will say about what Ben was talking about. Like, I feel like the last season of Hannibal did something good where it visually was much more like visceral. Like
Yes.
you got that rush of what those kind of people must feel in those moments.
100% right.
Whereas
Yes.
this, they are like a little bit more distanced. I mean, that's my man's thing, but like,
Yeah.
Yes.
The like Red Dragon
Yes.
element in the show is just so much more explored, and it's like I love what's the poet's
William Blake.
I love
What is
William
what is
Blake.
the deal with killers and William Blake, right?
The Salinger thing, like it's weird that like certain writers just seem to activate people without their work being like violent.
Yeah, William Blake, though, is just a freak.
Right.
He's just a straight up freak.
Especially for the time, right?
He died like 500 years ago.
No, but he was such a weirdo.
My man's a freak.
He would make his own illustrations,
text.
and he would wrote all this poetry. He did it all on his own.
Yeah, he was on fleek. He was on fleek. He was an on fleek freak.
William Blake, I mean, he was zaddy.
He was zaddy. William Blake was one of the original zaddies.
He was a zaddy, but I mean, the Red Dragon portraits, I think they were like commissioned or something, so...
Blake is one of those guys who like did all this shit, died, and then afterwards people were like, do you know that he did all this shit? Like no one knew who he was when he was alive. Yeah. He was just a maniac. He died like 300
just
years
like
ago.
Vincent van Gogh. Why aren't people killing in the name of Vincent van Gogh?
That would be like how they did like an Edgar Allan Poe serial killer thing. They should do a Vincent van Gogh.
Exactly. I mean,
that's really good.
Where it's like someone's in a field of sunflowers and the guy's like,
no, a Pollock one. Everyone's all
Listen,
drippy.
No,
that's kind of every murder
it's just
ends up being
expulsion
Pollock.
of bodily fluid.
I got one here, and only because we're recording this in advance do I feel comfortable saying this on the mic, because I will have already sold this to Disney Plus by the time this episode comes out. Picasso murders.
Yes, the Picasso
He
murders.
rearranged
Yeah.
it.
I love it.
Jigsaws you up.
Yeah.
Cubist.
And he takes different bodies. We can't ID this one. It's one guy's teeth, another guy's eyes, but they're in the butt.
Look at where this guy's arm is.
You don't believe where this guy's arm.
It's kind of like the Joker of painters.
Yeah, he kind of is like the Joker of painters. I've been doing a lot of guests on other people's podcasts recently, and I went on your guys' show, and that was like early in this run of doing it, and I realized I don't think there was one of them where the Joker didn't come up, and it wasn't me forcing it.
No, not at all. I mean, the Joker is just ever present in society these days.
Ever present. It would come up in one way or another every single podcast I've done.
And then would you ride it into the ground?
Oh, are you kidding me? You gotta.
The Joker?
That's what the Joker would do.
He's the clown prince of crime.
He's the clown prince of crime.
You were on our episode on Pet Sematary, the 1989 version.
And it was the Joker of episodes.
It was very funny.
Someone is going to 100% make this movie as a Joker movie sometime. Like, that's going to happen 20 years from now. It's going to be, we're doing a Batman movie where he's like, we're really doing the detective thing, and like Joker's going to be in jail, and he's going to have to like talk to Joker to figure out what's going on with, Hush or who, name a Batman villain who's a serial killer.
I was going to say it was Mr. Zsasz.
Yeah, right.
I was going to say it would just be Gordon without Batman, but then that's also like that's what Gotham was.
Gotham the show.
Right. It does feel like that will
someone will have that pitch. There's going to
I'm ready
every
for
10 years.
Bye Bye Birdie with Joker. That's the one I want.
Oh.
I want a musical about some young girls who can't get enough of that Joker.
Okay. Love that Joker.
Wish I didn't care.
Yeah.
A Joker musical is doable.
Oh,
that's not a bad idea.
That's Broadway.
Yep, it's coming already.
I mean, he wears suits.
Here's what I think the musical should be.
But he's kind of funny too.
Yeah,
we haven't mentioned
Prince of Musicals.
He's funny.
Here's a pitch that I actually is probably worth $20 million. The musical is Joker taking over someone else's musical.
Oh,
sure.
Do you know what I'm saying? So the marquee is like "Kiss Me, Kate," and then it's like scribbled out, and it's like "Ha ha ha, Joker musical."
Right.
And you go, and it's like a set, and everything's like proper, and then the Joker comes in and just like fucking chaos reigns.
And it's meta, and like the performers are playing. They're playing this performance, but they're playing themselves as the actors playing that performance.
He's holding the
killing the
company
actors
of a Broadway musical hostage to act out his musical. It's like a staged reading.
I can't believe you're a billionaire after selling all these pitches.
Right?
Yeah. God damn it.
And it was put on by Wayne Enterprises.
It's put on by Wayne Enterprise. That's why.
Right. That's
ultimate,
why he did it. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And then at the end, he gasses the entire audience.
Yes.
Right.
Not a lot of repeat customers.
No. I just imagine Warner Brothers being like, hearing that and being like, we can't make this right now because I don't know if you know this, but we have a Joker movie, but we are going to pay you just in case. Because, we never know. We might need another Joker movie next year.
Yeah.
We do have Joker on Ice.
That's even too twisted.
All right. I'm kind of going to no more Joker talk.
So, this movie, 1985. Silence of the Lambs is 90 or 91?
91, isn't it?
Yeah.
91.
Yeah.
At that point, you're just like, well, this is like someone else adapting another one of this author's works.
Right.
And his books are connected. It could have just felt like fucking Out of Sight and Jackie Brown both having Ray Nicolette, except as two different actors in this case.
Sure.
Like, they're not, movies that are linked. Right. And then everyone's like, oh, fuck, Hannibal's a franchise. For 11 years, everyone's like, or 10 years, they're like, are they ever going to get Anthony Hopkins to come back? Is Thomas Harrison ever going to write another thing? It's one of the great unmade sequels. which you and I were talking about this last night. It's crazy that people were like, "Oh fuck, it's the one we've all been waiting for," and you're like, you watch Silence of the Lambs now, and you're like, people wanted another one.
It doesn't need a sequel.
It's just a good joke at the end,
right?
It does the thing I think where the horror movie thing, like because you watch Silence of the Lambs, you watch Silence of the Lambs. It's not really I mean, like there's horror elements, but that's not what I think about with that movie.
Right. It's a crime thriller horror sort of right.
But it took that thing of like Halloween and all those where the villain is what keeps the thing going,
right? And then they just made him like this like larger than life boogeyman, like this like shadow over humanity. And then they finally get him on, and he does two
sequels rapidly
within like 3 years.
One which is super violent, and one which is kind of like going for a way classier vibe, right? Like Hannibal is just like the grossest shit in the world,
right?
Yeah.
And then Red Dragon is like, no, wait a second, like he's also classy.
It is classy. It is crazy.
Lots of big actors.
I have not seen Red Dragon.
I mean, Red Dragon has such an all-star cast.
I have not seen Red Dragon, but
you haven't seen it?
No, I was looking it up last night because I was like trying to remember who played what part. It is crazy how stacked that cast is.
It's so stacked.
And you just wonder what all those people felt like being directed by Brett Ratner.
Right. No, I mean, Philip Seymour Hoffman is Freddie Lounds in that movie, which is like a 5-minute part.
Yeah, Mary Louise Parker is
she's
the Will's wife.
The wife, right? Who's the blind lady?
It's Emily Watson. Right, yeah.
But, Fiennes is good.
Yes,
Fiennes is the thing that's really good about Red Dragon. Okay. I love Tom Noonan, and I love him in Manhunter.
Yeah.
It's a very specific and very cool performance.
Yeah.
And I think there's even more William Blake talk in Red Dragon.
Well, there's the Red Dragon is heavy on the William Blake.
Right.
He eats the painting.
Yes.
Which is something he does in the book.
Cool.
He goes to the Brooklyn Museum, which is where it is.
Yeah.
Gets it out of the archive and eats it.
Well, we could do that today, right?
We could do that.
100%.
That's Patreon content.
Yeah.
So does Red Dragon have more Hannibal in it, or do they just...
Yes, it shoehorns Hannibal in wherever it can. It also shows you Hannibal attacking Will Graham.
Okay.
To try and get a little more of that in there.
I think that's what happens
that's
at the
the
very
prologue.
beginning. Yeah.
It's where Will Graham's like, I just wanted to meet with you because you're a psychiatrist. Right. And Hannibal's like, yes, of course. Like, let's come into my office.
So, like, more screen time than Silence of the Lambs, less than Hannibal.
Yeah.
He's like a co-lead.
Yeah. Norton's the lead.
Right.
I mean, but Hannibal is just all him. Like
Hannibal is all him.
Julianne Moore.
Yeah,
I mean, she's doing her best, but I don't think they really knew what to do with the character in that sense.
And they're like, I don't know. Do people want to see them
not into
get together?
Guys, the thing is, he ate their liver.
He ate their liver
with
fava beans
and a nice Chianti.
And a nice Chianti.
I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Yeah.
He eats people.
Yeah,
That's his bit. He eats people.
It's a good bit.
Have I ever told?
Opinions vary.
I love the way they show him preparing the victims on the TV show.
Oh yeah,
of course.
I mean, that's the one thing that they really
Food
missed.
Network should take notes.
Yes, exactly. A lot of cuts, all slow motions.
Oh no, I love all that stuff. Right.
Well, there's one Hannibal property I don't think we've mentioned yet at all, and I've never seen it, and I'd be surprised if anyone has. Is Hannibal Rising?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You guys, you see it? You see it?
No.
Nope.
No,
thank you.
Yeah, it's like a young,
young.
sexy coming of age young buck
A
Hannibal.
French dreamboat. Gaspar Ulliel, who
yeah.
is mostly now known for doing like Dior ads.
Sure, he's an actor though.
He
He'll
does
do
like
some
yeah,
shit.
but I'm saying in terms of visibility,
he's a hottie. He's a super hottie. You're right.
Does
he
a lot
like,
of like
Chanel
Right.
ads. I think he played Yves Saint Laurent in like the biopic
Right.
of Saint Laurent. Like
right. He was in Very Long Engagement, the Genet film, which is sort of his breakout thing. But it was very odd that they were like, and now finally we found the person to take the mantle from Anthony Hopkins.
this fucking guy you've never heard of.
Yeah, French print model.
Right. And and it's going to be directed by who? Who directed Hannibal Rising? Anyone tell? Nobody. It has no credit to
nobody.
Jeff.
Wow.
No.
That was
Peter Weber.
That was the wrong take. They should have done old Hannibal.
Yeah.
Well, the other
be
insane
great.
thing.
He's in a wheelchair.
Still do that.
They
I mean,
could still
Anthony
do that.
Hopkins
He's in a
is
wheelchair.
alive.
Yeah.
You know, but
I want to
Where
see.
he's like, let me at you. Someone just sort of walks away from him.
They need to blend the bodies up and feed it to him like baby food
Right,
because his teeth fell out.
And you're telling me this is liver. And they're like, yeah, sure, it's liver.
I want to see like the Unforgiven, like Dark Knight Returns Hannibal, where he's like, I'm coming out of retirement for one last meal. I gotta eat one more person.
Hopkins could do it.
He could totally do
He's
it.
still, he'll dial in if he wants to.
He seems like he's having fun on Twitter, and that's it. I think that's all he wants to
His
do.
Twitter account is fucking bananas. I mean,
Yeah.
It's just him and Sam Neill just having the time of their lives on Twitter.
just being like, hello, chaps. How you doing? I'm here looking at the window. See you later. You know, it's like a lot of that.
But that's his day.
I know.
How great is that?
He like plays the piano. He listens to jazz music and like wilds out.
God.
Gives like a happy birthday announcement to somebody you've never heard of.
We were talking about this last night, but Hannibal Rising, that is what's called Hannibal Rising.
That's correct.
My local bagel place in high school, I remember I was buying my daily bagel for lunch, and the woman just said to me, like, you see Hannibal Rising yet?
She said it to you.
Yeah, and she wasn't like a small talk person.
Was she very old? Because maybe she was talking about the original Hannibal. Have you seen him rising over the Alps?
Did you see the
Hey,
elephant?
kid?
Did you see it? It's humongous.
She was wearing Centurion armor.
You know who the villain in Hannibal Rising is?
It's not Carthage, it's Rome, right?
Well, no.
Oh, wait, wrong one. Sorry.
Gong Li, isn't it Gong Li?
Gong Li?
Yeah.
She teaches him. I don't know if she's
Oh, okay.
the villain.
Maybe she's not
like
the villain.
her.
She's like Hannibal.
Yeah,
Wait,
she's
did you
senior
see it?
Hannibal. Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, my
You
God.
saw it? Okay.
I thought earlier no one had seen it.
No, I.
No, you
didn't
were
ask
flexing
me.
that you were the only person who
Okay,
had
all
seen
right.
it. What I was going to say is that movie, she said, have you seen it? I said, no. And she went, it's pretty good. And then she sort of like leaned in and she was like, they explain where he gets the mask from.
Wait, what? I mean, isn't that just
As we were saying last
Yeah.
night, he's a bitey guy.
Yeah.
That's where he
He gets the mask because he's in prison.
And he's a
no,
biter.
but
He's a biter.
he gets it in high school now?
In Hannibal Rising, they're like, his father had a mask collection, and he
Oh,
starts wearing the
Lord.
mask when he's like attacking people.
It's
And
too
it's
much.
like, so that's why later in life he wore the mask. It's like, no, because
they
he was.
put it on
He
him.
takes
They
it
put
off.
on him.
He takes it off to
talking
fight
about?
people. Anyway.
I was kind of hoping in Hannibal Rising that they were going to do something more like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where he tries on the different masks.
Yes,
like, I'll
right.
do it this way this time. This way this time.
I don't like Chardonnay. Do you have anything else on the menu?
Anything red?
He puts on a mask and it's smoking? Huh?
I just love that they treat that like fucking Bruce Wayne, like being scared of the
It's
bats.
all they had. They
Right.
had cast a French supermodel. Like they needed to put
He's
the
a
mask
good
on
actor,
him.
but it's also like he is predominantly a pretty boy.
Yeah.
He's
and
not
it was from the
someone-
director of Girl with a Pearl Earring.
So fucking weird.
It was his follow-up to Girl with a Pearl Earring.
Yeah.
They saw Girl with a Pearl Earring and they were like, this guy gets Hannibal. He'll do it.
Is Hannibal also a franchise where every one of the movies is a different studio?
Well, Hannibal Rising was, let's find out, the
Weinstein,
Weinstein Company.
right?
Red Dragon was,
Universal.
Oh, see, he's beating me to it. He knows the fucking studio.
Was Hannibal Universal, or was that? I feel like that was Paramount.
It sounds like Paramount.
Feels like a Paramount.
Are we just saying names of places now?
MGM.
Oh.
Ooh, because they had acquired Orion, which
right.
did
Silence is Orion, and of course, Manhunter, the film we're here to discuss,
Yes.
was DEG, was the De Laurentiis group.
Right.
They released it themselves.
right. So they're all different studios.
All different studios. Because
Wow.
I was talking about how Hellboy, three movies, three studios. They
Yeah.
just
You
throw
were like,
that
is
to
there
someone
any
else.
other?
They like ball it up, and they're like, "You try."
Is there any other example of that?
There-
And it's like, this is the
Hannibal,
other one.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Hannibal and Hellboy.
Hannaboy.
We got to get these two together.
We got it.
Hannibal.
Imagine
Hannibal.
the things they get up to.
They would get up to some shit, or Hellboy on the trail of Hannibal, maybe,
boy.
right? Something like that.
Yeah. I'm surprised they haven't like started doing like Hannibal mashup comics.
Like Hannibal versus Predator or whatever.
Yeah.
That
I would
kinda
totally buy that.
Of course.
Right. Because they're all those like Bubba Hotep versus Army of Darkness
God, this is
versus
miserable.
Chucky.
Oh, fuck off.
We should do these franchise mashups. I've been saying this
Yeah.
for a while, but not in the Ready Player One sense, but in
No.
just like you just have Hannibal and
A clean two.
the Joker hanging out
Right.
or whatever.
I mean, Hannibal does seem like somebody who would be like hunting for a magic pyramid that turns him into a god with the Illuminati.
See,
Yes.
So, like, I
There
feel
That's
we
what I'm
go.
into.
Yeah,
so
like
then
what I'm
Laura
into.
Croft could chase him down.
Batman would do it.
Oh,
Just a nice clean pitch like that. And obvious.
There's this pyramid, and the studio's like, sure, 80 million.
It's magic.
The
No,
girl at
that's
the
the
door
thing.
will give you the
It's one
budget.
of the classic stories that we pass down from generation
How
to
about this?
generation.
He's old Hannibal. We're gonna
Right.
bring it all back
Yeah.
together. Old Hannibal is looking for the Fountain of Youth, left by Ponce de Leon, and then he comes out present day as French model Hannibal Rising.
What if there's like lightning strikes the pool, so you get all the Hannibals together? So you get
yes, it's like the Doctor Who's where the doctors meet each other. You got Cox, Hoskins, Uliel,
like Terminator 2
and Mickelson.
When they're melting T-1000 and you see all the different people he was, you get to see all the different Hannibals.
And they each have a different mask.
Yes.
They open a restaurant together.
We have to talk about Manhunter, but it just is crazy that they did a TV show.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Hopkins.
Yeah.
Everyone likes Hopkins.
Yeah.
This guy does the opposite performance. Like a performance that's just nothing like that.
And it's about as different as you could go in terms of casting.
And people, exactly. And people are not only like, we love this, but they're like, I'm horny for it. Like, I want him to kiss Henry Cavill.
He was kind of a hot Hannibal who fucks.
He's hot Hannibal who fucks, but then also is like, I'll make a cello out of a man's vocal cords. And you're like, what? This is network?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I'm not going to tell you how many conversations I've had with my wife where she's like, I would fuck Hannibal.
He's hot.
Like a TV Hannibal.
He's hot.
He's really hot.
He's classy.
Yes.
He does not like people who are garish. Like, usually his motive for murder is like that someone was rude.
You like his rules.
Yes.
You like his rules.
He's certainly a rules guy.
David loves rules.
Yes.
He's also an exquisite chef. I mean,
I'm sorry. David
And
gets
he's a good
angry when my
chef.
phone pangs.
Yeah, he's and there, Jack Crawford's always like, what is it tonight? And Hannibal's like, spleen, cow spleen, and he's like, I always have the most delicious variety. I can never predict you. And he's like,
a little human chicken livers. Chicken livers is what we're having.
Very big chicken, I guess. He's got this like
an entire roasted human being. That's just a chicken.
Yeah. What if he did that? Yeah, he's literally just a man, and he's like, yeah, this is veal. Like, yeah, this is definitely veal. That's what this is. Just on a rotisserie.
It's Italian veal. It's different over there. You just don't know it.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Jack Crawford's like, what a gourmet he is.
Yeah.
I don't know this fancy European cooking.
Yeah, that was just a paprika. I just put some paprika on it.
The other thing that it nails, which Hopkins and Cox nail too, is like that you get that like Hannibal got away with it by being so classy.
Yeah.
They were like, Hannibal couldn't be murdering people.
Cox is so good in this movie.
Yes, he is.
I know that's the hot contrarian take is like, actually, he's even better than Hopkins. And Hopkins is just at this level where it's just like kind of an inarguable like force of a character.
He almost breaks through the movie, whereas Cox is very much in the movie.
He's in the movie.
He's blended with the whole
You're
thing.
right. He almost breaks through. I thought it was like Last Action Hero and he's going to come out and bite me. Speaking of Last Action Hero, Tom Noonan is fucking fantastic in that too.
Oh my God.
Yes, he is.
I love that movie. So
Tom Noonan had like quite an incredible 7-year run there.
He is a weird career.
Right, but you go like Manhunter, playing Frankenstein in the Monster Squad.
I mean,
the Ripper, is that his character name?
The Ripper.
Yeah.
But it's like, look at him.
Oh,
he's incredible.
It's limited what you can do with that guy.
Have you guys ever seen, it was like as part of the EPK, but it's on like the Blu-ray or whatever, of Monster Squad that he did a full interview in character as Frankenstein.
Really?
Yeah, and he there's
this.
20 minutes of EPK of Tom Noonan answering press questions as Frankenstein in the full getup.
I was looking for something to watch on YouTube on the way back, so there we go.
It's just
great. No, he's like an articulate Frankenstein, but he's responding as if he is the character.
And everyone's just like, Frankenstein couldn't do it. He's so articulate.
Well, he started
too classy.
He started with big directors too. His first movie is a Paul Mazursky movie, and then it just barreled from there. I think he almost always worked with big directors.
That's
strange
true.
to me from the beginning. That's really weird to have that.
He's in Gloria.
Yeah.
He's in some very cool. He's in Easy Money.
I forget which role it is.
Yeah,
maybe it was Last Action Hero, but they asked him to shave off his eyebrows. And he was like, they just never grew back.
Cool.
Worth it.
And I remember
totally
him
worth it.
saying that.
I never looked scary before.
Right. It was like an AV club, like random roles. And they were like, oh, so you must regret that. And he's like, no, it's fine. I wear glasses. I was like, only Tom Noonan is that casual about looking like a monster.
That's
a
great.
weird eyebrowless monster.
He's so good in The House of the Devil. He's so scary.
And
frightens me.
his
Anomalisa.
Anomalisa, he's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah. He doesn't do a lot though.
Now?
If you look at him.
Pretty
No.
selective these days.
Yeah,
Right.
Although he did like a bunch of episodes of 12 Monkeys, like the
Really?
TV show. Like That's the weird thing.
Isn't he on your favorite show, Hell on Wheels?
Oh
Yes,
my
he
lord!
was the Reverend?
Yes,
Really?
yes, and he's quite a character.
I know nothing
He's
about
good
the show.
at. He better be playing quite the character if he's going to be on a TV show.
Well,
right?
most of it's like he's a pacifist, like preacher, and then eventually he does succumb to violence,
Hell yeah.
and then but then it's kind of the end for him. He doesn't last as long as our Bohannon. I almost said
you're
titular
beloved.
because I call the show Bohannon. But Hell on Wheels.
Is that Anson Mount?
Yes.
A guy who I never thought about for 1 second, and then he was on Star Trek, and I fell in love with him. Like,
Oh, really?
I love.
Listen,
him on
if you
Star
love
Trek.
him, seriously,
I should
check out Hell on Wheels. The first season I think is a little patchy, and then they course correct. But then it also goes off the rails because it's also bad in a lot of parts.
Great,
but it's
great pitch.
But it's
it
fun.
starts
fun.
bad, gets a little better, and then is often bad.
Yes,
you should check it out.
But it's fun.
It's on Netflix now. He also played
and you have
someone
tons
called
of time because there are no other TV shows.
Right, exactly. He
Yeah.
also played someone called the Stew Maker on the Blacklist, which I want to know what that means.
I'm looking at his list right now. I mean, the other one I forgot is RoboCop 2.
Sure.
But he has that run of like an FX.
He was great in RoboCop 2, by the way.
He's
Isn't
the
he the
best
main
part
villain?
of RoboCop 2.
Yeah,
he's
Kane.
Kane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What,
he
are
is
you
the
shooting
titular
You don't remember that?
second RoboCop. Heaven's Gate. Like, what a weird fucking career.
Weird.
Yeah.
And he says he got the part in Manhunter because during his audition, the actress he was alongside got scared, and he leaned into it and tried to like scare her more.
Yeah, I mean, the thing
He like got more frightening rather than being like, "Oh, I'm sorry, is this too intense?" Like, yeah,
very scary in this.
Yes.
And he's also really sad.
yes.
Like, there's a bit of the Jack
Which
Hero, Haley,
Fiennes
little
doesn't-
children thing.
Fiennes doesn't.
Right.
get.
Everyone else just goes full creep.
Fiennes is very scary, but he's
Right.
not particularly.
Yeah, this is like
human.
victim of society.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Fiennes is also too handsome. Like he's a handsome guy, even
Right.
though he can play scary. Like,
Yeah.
and he's got this sort of like this sort of weird vibe and the cleft palate. Like he's.
And then
pretty
Armitage,
fine.
they make even hotter.
Armitage's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Armitage is very hot.
Right.
Yeah.
That scene, the tiger scene in the show, is just I mean, like, I love this one just because Joan Allen is incredible in that scene.
Yeah.
But like the TV version, like, there's those red drapes in the back. I'm like, holy, okay, they really went for it, I guess.
So red drapes.
Red drapes.
drapes.
They're the best. I put them in everything I
So
say.
Red Dragon comes out 81.
Red drapes comes out.
The book. Okay.
The book, which is Thomas Harris's, I think, second book, because he wrote Black Sunday, that book about like a terrorist attack at the Super Bowl that got
Right.
turned into a movie.
Yes.
Right. And he also wrote a couple babysitter clubs, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, he wrote a lot of Sesame Street board books.
Right. There's a monster in this book.
Right. As I think I told you, a quote that I love that Stephen King says that like Harris is like a really nice guy. He's a great chef, which is interesting. He's like big and kind of garrulous and fun, but writing to him is like writhing on the floor in agonies of frustration. The very act of writing is a torment to him.
Right. He's one of those guys who's like, I'd be happy never writing a book ever again.
Right.
And somehow hit the jackpot where
He doesn't really have to, except
Right.
once in a while. The movie
Yeah.
studio's like, "Can you just more Hannibal?" And he's
Right.
like, "Okay, but it will be disgusting."
Right.
Right. Yeah. Like that's all that's inside.
and you said also you feel like every time he agreed to do another Hannibal, it was mostly so that they didn't let someone else do it.
Exactly,
Like he knew
right.
if he turned it down,
They'd be like, "Fine, we're gonna farm this out."
Right.
Yeah.
right. But like is like I'm happy just living off my Hannibal millions.
Sure.
That must be a weird feeling
He
to
has
be
also
like
not given an interview since 1976, which is amazing.
That's great.
Yeah.
How weird must it be to be like, I never have to work again because I wrote a snob who eats people. That's my meal ticket.
Right.
That's my Mickey Mouse. I came up with this erudite cannibal.
Right.
That must be the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
Right?
The relationship
Yeah.
that he invented, I feel like, is a really cool idea.
No,
I think that's
the
what people
Hannibal
respond
dynamic
to.
is the big thing.
It's
I
so
feel
good.
Like,
It's so good that he's like this profiler who's
Right.
been fucked up. He's like a victim of this guy. Is
Right.
working with him.
Right.
Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good pitch.
It's so good.
You have to talk to the
But it's
monster
also-
in the
right.
cage is a good pitch.
That's
definitely.
why Hannibal Rising is the least interesting pitch, because the thing you want is like Hannibal already in jail.
Yeah,
and
of
like
course.
the good guys having to come to him and be like, I know you're the only person who understands this.
And
Like
he's
the
like-
uneasy alliance of Hannibal knowing that he's the smartest criminologist in the world. You
In
know?
Hannibal Rising, we should have cut to like Will Graham in high school as
Totally.
a valedictorian or something.
And
I guess he would even be younger, maybe
Right.
kindergarten.
Or Clarice,
you have to-
lambs screaming,
Yeah.
right? You could have
Right.
had like 5-year-old Clarice.
You want Hannibal
5-minute
Rising.
static shot. of her.
You want Hannibal Rising to be about a foreign exchange program.
Yes, that would be great.
You
That's where
want
his
that
first
same
taste
sort
of
of-
American living.
Right.
He hears Leonard Skinner for the first time, loves it for some reason.
You know, in Europe, Hannibal might be like, yeah, that's the killer.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we can spot him.
Right.
But in Europe,
you see him because he's not
Right.
classy there. He's
Right.
just regular.
yes,
right?
exactly. But in
Right.
America, it's like, oh wow, he's got an accent.
fine.
He could
Yeah.
never do
Hello.
anything.
But that's the thing about him is that, as you say, he's always played by a foreign actor who's doing kind of an accent.
Right.
He's from Baltimore.
Right.
Like that's where he was in like Baltimore high society. But he's from Europe, I guess. And in Manhunter, and in the book, in Red Dragon is about a criminal psychologist who is trying to figure out what the Tooth Fairy is up to, and then Hannibal is like this peripheral character who is his like lingering trauma.
Now, does De Laurentiis get the rights to the book because it's a hit and then Michael Mann comes on? Or does Michael Mann seek this out and convinces De Laurentiis to buy it? Do you know?
That is a great question. Let me see if that's explained here. One thing that's funny is that it was going to be called Red Dragon, and De Laurentiis was like, Year of the Dragon just came out, so we're going to call it Manhunter. And Michael Mann was like, I hate that title. And he was like, too bad. And he was like, and people think it's like a Bruce Lee movie. Like, no dragon. Get that out of here.
I kind of love this title of Manhunter because you almost think like you see the title, that green font comes on the screen. You're like, you think it's like almost the killer,
Right.
but it's that duality of it's
I think
actually
it's
Will
a pretty
Graham.
clever title. Yeah.
So no, De Laurentiis bought the rights.
Okay.
And he wanted David Lynch to make it because he had just worked with him on Dune.
An awful experience for both of them.
Yes, and maybe it was before Dune was finished or had come out or whatever. And Lynch read the story or whatever and was like, "This is disgusting. I have no interest. Like, no, thank you."
Imagine if he did it though. It'd be like the food. It would be like look like chili or something for Hannibal. Like what would he?
It's just Bob's Big Boy.
There'd be like breathing walls in the Tooth Fairy's home or something like that.
Right, it would
something
be,
like that would get.
It is fun, right, to think any master taking the Hannibal story. Like, it would do something completely different with
the
it.
two hiring meetings, do you think Lynch was more revulsed by Red Dragon or Return of the Jedi?
Right.
He might have had a more violent reaction to Return of the Jedi.
Probably.
Brian Cox also thought this movie was the title was bland and cheesy. So no one likes the title.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know how Mann gets hired.
I like the title.
Mann gets hired and he's like, we're all going to meet with like Chicago cops, which I feel like is Mann's pitch in every one of his early movies is like, great, let's make this script. I have a bunch of Chicago like hoagie eating cops
But also,
for you to
at
meet.
this point in his career, he makes a real like fucking like Chicago guy crime movie, right? Which people love, but it doesn't make a ton of money. Then he makes a horror movie that's like a nightmare, gets ripped away from him, he disowns. So you have to imagine he's like, I don't want to go back to TV. Here, I'm going to adapt like an airport novel.
Yeah, right.
This is like pre-sold, you know?
Yeah, not going to do Carl Heiss, and that's not exactly my tone.
Right.
So this is more my speed.
And this is a book that's popular that I can use for all of my obsessions. Like this has all the stuff that he's interested in. And then you watch this movie and it opens with a beach. It opens with Dennis Farina and William Petersen. The other thing I was going to say that's interesting about it is he's got like no stars in this movie. Like he hires Petersen off of watching footage
to live
from,
and die in LA, like,
but it hadn't come out yet.
Right. And Petersen at this point is just like a Steppenwolf guy.
Do you know that he also wanted to hire Friedkin to play Hannibal?
Yes.
And he met with
wild.
Friedkin, and Friedkin
That would be
was
Friedkin crazy.
Right. Hey. 10 comedy points. Friedkin was like, I'm not an actor. And Mann was like, you don't have to act. You are this guy. And Friedkin was like, I am
Excuse
this guy?
me?
Fuck you. Get out of my office.
Thus the historical Mann Friedkin split.
Just play yourself.
Right. De Laurentiis wanted either Richard Gere, Mel Gibson, or Paul Newman. Shooting high.
Go for it.
And Michael Mann's like, I saw some footage of this future bomb. Like, we should hire William Petersen.
Would you also imagine he probably only saw it because he was spending time with Friedkin trying to convince him to play Hannibal.
Come on,
right.
Willie.
Right.
You'll love it. This guy, he ate someone.
Right. So they get Petersen, which I guess is maybe in their mind sort of like a smaller scale, like Sam Worthington booking all those movies before Avatar came out.
Yeah, whatever.
People were like, I guess maybe if Friedkin
it's
picked
also the
him.
height of like Steppenwolf cool. Like
Right.
all those Steppenwolf guys are emerging in the 80s, like
Right.
Malkovich and Gary Sinise and all
Petersen is one of those guys who like really kind of like walks the walk and talks the talk in terms of like, no, I really just like theater more. I don't really want to act in movies and TV
I don't
shows.
enjoy it.
Well,
right.
and he goes right out of the gate. He's a leading man in
Right.
both this and To Live and Die in
Right, and
LA.
then vanishes.
Goes away.
Right, his first film role, 2 lines as the bartender in Thief.
Yeah, right.
Then 4 years later, he does To Live and Die in LA, and then does this the following year.
And then plays Ted Kennedy in The Contender.
Right, there
Yeah.
was the list I saw.
I
where he,
forgot about that.
He's good in that.
And he's good. He's very good.
Joan Allen again, right?
but there's
Yeah.
a list of the shit that he turned down, and they kept on saying, I'm looking at his Wikipedia now, he would turn down all these, he turned down Platoon, he turned down Goodfellas,
Jeez.
What was he going to play in Goodfellas?
Henry Hill,
Wow.
first
Wow.
choice.
Glad he didn't do
Yeah.
that.
He
And then, of
turned
course, Ray
down-
Liotta's brain eventually eaten by Hannibal.
Correct. Turned down the Audition.
Turned down the audition?
He turned down
like
the-
Martin Scorsese called him and was like, are you interested in playing the lead role in my new film?
And he was like, not
And he
interested,
was
hard
like,
pass. Right. And
do Hamlet again.
right. So after Manhunter, he does Cousins, the Joel Schumacher French film remake with Ted
man.
Danson.
Right.
He does Young Guns 2.
Sure.
Oh my God, Young Guns 2.
That was the hottest
No, it's terrible.
role in all. Everyone was baying for Young Guns 2.
Young Guns 2. Sorry, Chris, but that features Emilio Estevez as an old man talking
Yes.
to Bradley Whitford in like the 1950s about being Billy the Kid.
It is really the opening of it. But like, I think William Petersen just saw that he was going to play Pat Garrett. Like that was
Yes,
there was one
right.
name. He's
Sure.
like, oh, that's a historical character.
I know who
that
that is.
But
Right.
you just
yeah.
look at this like, okay, Stone offers him Platoon. He's like, hard pass. I'm going to make an HBO TV movie about a minor league baseball player.
Sounds good.
Right. Then Scorsese's like, Goodfellas, you want to play a lead? He's like, hard pass. I'm going to do a 3-part Kennedys of Massachusetts ABC miniseries.
I guess he's good at that sort of Kennedy vibe. He likes that.
He does Return to Lonesome Dove. So
Yeah.
his 3 biggest roles post Manhunter, all TV movies or miniseries.
Right.
And then by the time he starts doing movies again, it's like small parts.
Yeah, like The Contender.
right.
She's like the
Mulholland
7th lead.
Falls,
Right,
like
Mulholland
Fear. Right. And then he just gets fucking
Well, he
CSI.
booked CSI and CBS put that on Friday. Like they didn't think that was going to be a hit.
No,
they
and-
thought nothing of it.
And also at that point, it was like no movie stars went and did TV. He was a guy who could have been a leading man, but kind of walked away from it. So they were like, well, he's got the gravitas of a movie
Right.
star, but he doesn't have any cachet to be able to turn this down.
Right.
Does 10 seasons, is like the highest paid guy in drama.
Hell yeah.
And then just leaves. And then once again, just like fucking goes back to just doing Chicago plays.
I love it.
Like, it's kind of
I love
incredible that the
William
guy
Petersen.
has that much integrity where he's like, I just really like doing plays in Chicago.
Yeah. I mean, if you're that guy, I mean, he's also a guy in movies who knew his visual like he knew he was handsome.
Right.
I mean, this and in To Live and Die in LA,
Right.
that shirt's never like fully buttoned.
The
Right.
haunted handsomeness.
But he knew
Yes.
he could only play crime scene guys.
Right.
Yes, that's true. Well,
It's
I-
true.
CSI.
Right, that's true.
And
Maybe
then-
that's why they thought of him for CSI too. Right, of course.
But
right.
also that, I mean, you mentioned that Little League, but do you know what that movie is about?
No, please tell me.
There's a Little League kid who's like, I'm going to quit baseball
Don't do that.
until nuclear disarmament happens. And then a major league baseball player is like, he's right. I'm going to do it too. And
Okay,
it's all about this national sensation.
And Petersen plays the
He's
player?
his father. No, he's
Wait, so it's Superman 4 set amidst Little League baseball?
amidst various
Yes.
baseball leagues.
Wow.
Right. All right, that sounds good.
yeah.
Did Man direct that? Was that a man too?
Ding dong.
Who's at the door?
You're laughing already.
I don't know. I just feel like sometimes a funny character bursts through the door.
well, it's
at times like
unbecoming
this.
to laugh before they've entered. They might
I'm
feel
deadly
embarrassed.
serious.
Thank you. I'm being self-conscious.
I'm
entering
fully
a new room
serious
for the
right
first
now.
time. Let's see who it is.
Who is it? Who's this?
Why, it's just me,
Hello?
a rhombus.
You're a rhombus?
I'm just a
A
silly old...
four-sided shape?
Yeah.
Isn't that what a rhombus is?
Yeah, silly old rhombus, but a little slanted.
Yeah, okay. Because you're sort of like a diamondy shape, I think of
Yeah.
you. Right.
I always wanted to be a square, but I ended up a rhombus.
Gotcha. Cool. What's going on, Griffin? What's up with the rhombus?
What do you mean? I don't know. You just showed up. Why are you asking me?
Wait a second.
What?
Did you want to get in shape?
I feel like I just spelled that out.
Well, I feel like I'm responding to the thing you
I
just
want it to
spelled
be a
out.
square, and I'm just a little rhombus.
Well, listen up, rhombus.
What?
Listen up. Okay? Getting in shape isn't just about losing weight.
No, of course not.
You
I'm
know-
as slim as I could be.
Exactly. You got to learn
I'm
how.
one-dimensional. I'm just the wrong shape.
It's about learning healthier habits, feeling better about yourself.
Yeah.
Whether it's, you need more stamina to keep up with your life or to get into your gold genes finally, or maybe to get in tune with your body's needs and become a square.
Yeah.
You can go to our friends at Noom.
Noom?
Noom! It's one program for all your health and weight loss needs. You don't have to hunt around for training apps and workouts and calorie counters and meal plans.
Excuse me. I'm Hexagon.
Oh, hey, Hexagon. How are you doing?
How's it
In
going?
what shape do you want to be, Hexagon?
I definitely remember how many sides I have.
Yes, you have 6
So
sides.
great. I want to be a stop sign.
That's more of an octagon, right?
That's what I want to be.
I would imagine a shorter walk would just be wanting to be a circle.
Right, that's what I thought he was going
Kind
to
of
say.
smoothing out the edges.
Adding sides seems harder, but,
But who am I to
whatever.
tell you what your dreams are? I just know that I very cleanly want to be a square.
He wants to be a stop sign, which I had to clarify as an octagon.
I mean, it's almost the same shape. You just wish to be a different object in that shape.
All right, listen.
This guy's
Noom-
fucking crazy. I don't know if you've met him before. Hexagon's a wild man.
He seems very, very erratic. Noom
Over at the shape bars,
is going to help
loves
you.
to pull the cord.
It's an app, and it's going to help you work out your physical stuff like
Yeah.
self-care, feeling
Right.
confident in clothing, more energy, things like that.
Yeah,
But
I'm
also
tired all the
psychological stuff, letting you make healthy choices, giving you a better mood, helping you control your anxiety.
Yeah.
And social stuff like letting you go out if you're feeling pent up, or having you, stay home if you're feeling like you've been out too much. Things like that. Noom's going to help you break bad habits because you're going to interact with your goal specialists and Noom members, and they're going to egg you on and they're going to help you out. Noom is a habit-changing solution. It's going to help users learn to develop a new relationship with food through personalized courses. It's not a diet. It's a healthy and easy to stick to way of life. Doesn't make food good or bad or off limits. Just teaches you moderation. Can be used in conjunction with any pre-existing diet that you want to use, anything like that. It's just a way for someone to talk to you online to help you set goals and keep them.
Hello?
Who are you?
Well, feels like you're coming a little hot.
There's just
hostile.
a lot of shapes entering the room right
Okay,
now.
I'm sorry if this is a bad time. My name is John Davidson. I just got hired here at Audio Boom. I work in the ad sales department. But clearly I can tell where I'm not wanted, so I'll get out of
This
here.
is a good
You guys
character.
can record your Shape podcast?
It's called The Shape of Things. Thank you very much. We've got a lot of interests. All right. You don't have to change it all in one day. Small steps make big progress.
Good, because I'm busy tomorrow.
Fine. Sign up for your trial today at Noom, NOOM.com/check. Rhombus's phone went off during that.
I'm sorry, it's my girlfriend calling.
What do you have to lose? Visit Noom.com/check to start your trial today. That's Noom.com/check, the last weight loss program you'll need.
The other thing that is interesting about Petersen, by all accounts, it sounds like this movie kind of broke him.
Totally. He was like, I could not shake this character.
He seems like a guy who does a lot of research,
Yeah.
and it is kind of incredible watching this movie where it's like, oh, he's not doing like any indicating at all.
Right.
It doesn't feel like he's consciously playing the trauma and the brokenness of this guy. It feels like he spent 6 months getting in the head. You imagine he spent 6 months just looking at crime scene photos.
He talked to the guys who hunted Richard Ramirez.
Right.
That was one of his big things.
Right.
And they were like, I mean, yeah, you try to leave it at home. And, I think I kind of did that. Like
Right.
they were sort of like upfront with him about like, well, and all that shit.
Because this is one of those like performances where he's like never playing the trauma. He just feels like he's dead inside the whole movie. And you're like, this is like uncomfortable. Like he's like the guy on the subway where you're like, I can't stop looking at this guy because I think he's on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
I love his performance for exactly that. Right.
He's radiating some really uncomfortable energy.
Is lost. Like, right.
He's gone.
And his wife is so pretty and she's like, hey, what's up? We're on the beach. And he's like,
right. And his conscious acting choice is, let me just play a guy who's really good at his job. Right. But he spent 6 months building a psychological profile of like total fucking despair.
Right.
And I like that about the beginning because like it starts with him and Farina. It doesn't start with him and the wife.
Yeah. And it's like picturesque. It's like them sitting on like
and Farina's there in like a suit.
But it also underlines the whole thing about like the fact that he cares more about this stuff than he does this life. Yeah. And I like I mean there's a couple things in Heat that bounce off of this. But like that shot of De
Niro contemplating the ocean, men contemplating the ocean, man. Number one Michael Mann trope.
Well, and also this man thing of like men who don't know how to do anything else.
Yes. Right.
What's the line in the Heat diner?
Well, it's that where it's like Pacino's like, don't take scores, and he's like, all I know how to do is take scores.
Right. Right.
And Diane Venora, I think, says specifically, "You hunt your prey."
Right.
Right.
When she's yelling at him.
I'm sorry, the chicken got overcooked.
No, but Will Graham's this dude who had this like very high profile success.
Give me what you got.
And now he lives on the beach, constantly playing like beautiful like electronic music with his like lovely wife and child. And he like is like, I can't do it. You can't drag me back into it. But he also clearly isn't enjoying his life.
No.
Like the guy it's like a guy who comes back from war and just can't ever go back. Right. He's like Colin Farrell in Dumbo is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Great performance that I love.
Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting though is that Petersen like met with anyone he could, tried to steep himself in all of it. Tom Noonan tried to research serial killers, thought it was gross.
Right.
He was like, I can't. This is disgusting. Right. And instead was wait, there's some quote I found.
Petersen just feels like did too much research.
Yeah, it's too bad that podcast went around for Tom Noonan.
Right, exactly.
It's like half the fucking industry.
It's weird. I want to know more about serial killers, but I don't know where to turn.
Yeah,
it's
nowhere.
So hard.
Nowhere. Yeah.
No, he said I wanted to feel like this guy is doing the best he could, that he's doing it out of love. He decided to just play it like, he thinks this is the thing to do.
Tom Noonan's also one of those guys who's like a very serious actor, and he's like, I don't believe in like method stuff. You just like learn your lines and you like hit the marks and you try to come up with interesting choices.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds like acting to me.
And Petersen's like, I'm going to destroy my brain and my heart forever.
There's only one way to get 1,000-yard stare.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But yes, no, the opening of the film is immediately so strange because you're like, this feels like the idyllic, like they're skipping past the paradise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just like the seduction now is like his boss being like, come on, come back.
Hey, there's this guy, Tooth Fairy. No good.
Yeah. He's got teeth.
He's got teeth. Everyone's got teeth. This guy bites people with them. What the fuck?
Which is my favorite bit when the guy's like, I don't want to hear any of you calling this guy the Tooth Fairy. Right, and they're like, so what's the new update on the Tooth Fairy case? Like everyone the whole movie is like, fucking Tooth Fairy.
What was I going to say? Farina obviously is in Thief.
Yes.
Is a real Chicago cop that man befriends.
Crime Story as well.
He's going to do Crime Story after this. Right, exactly. But now we know the Hannibal shit and all that. But this movie's a little daring to just sort of start with like them having a conversation with like, I know you're fucked up. Like, like to have all this backstory that is not really addressed.
Right.
This does not really address the backstory.
No.
Hannibal like stabbed him. That's about it.
Right.
Right? Like,
And the stuff, I mean, when he's talking to his son, I think is like the best they sort of explain it of just like, this guy's so good at his job and he takes it so seriously that he tries to dig into their psychology and he maybe now can never get out of that.
Right.
Like he sees the world through those eyes.
Yeah, he crossed the line.
He crossed the line.
Yeah.
And in the show, when they talk about Will Graham, where they're like, he's a super empath or whatever, right? There's some like word they have for him. And when he enters a crime scene, it like turns into like 3D and he can like see ghosts and shit.
There's definitely TVified it, like
very much.
They had to really go big. And like, but what's good about it, like in this, they do just say like Garrett Jacob Hobbs in passing. And then the show turns into a major arc.
Yes, that's like the whole first thing. The something Shrike. Fuck, I forgot.
The Shriek. The
but it's
Baltimore
like
Shrike or
something like that. Yeah,
Shrike?
Shrike.
From Mortal Engines? Have you guys seen Mortal Engines?
I have seen Mortal Engines.
Shrike
you guys are gonna do Mortal
Isn't there
Engines.
a band on the soundtrack to this that's like Shrike something, a Shriek?
On this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway.
The soundtrack's so good.
It is amazing.
We should say this soundtrack, this movie in general is very vaporwave.
Highly.
Yeah.
It is
the Minnesota
pre-vaporwave, proto-vaporwave.
Yeah.
But this is very much my aesthetic.
I was saying,
I feel like movies should come back around to this.
Build like
kind of are.
You got to build a mortal engine of vaporwave.
Yes.
That's about like
if you were in Mortal Engines, yours would be like a
Mortal
Incarta,
Engine,
right?
But vaporwave.
Right. Yeah, because I haven't seen Mortal Engines, and my understanding of it is there's a big robot and it's just fucking showed up. Is that right?
It's big cities. Cities.
It's a city robot.
Cities on wheels.
They're called motor cities,
and they battle each other.
It's got one of those things where like the opening thing is like, as we all know, after the fall,
the cities
had to go on wheels, and you're like.
Yeah.
They had to? That was the move? Wheels?
Do you remember like those like Micro Machine play sets where it would like look like a thing and then you'd open it up and there'd be like a bunch of different scenes and characters inside?
Like the Technodrome.
So the cities in Mortal Engines are like that, where they're like, oh fuck, someone's coming, and then it like folds up and all the buildings compress. I swear to God, this movie rules so
I
fucking
believe
hard.
the first line basically is Hugo Weaving saying, prepare to ingest.
Yes.
Because the city is about to like eat a smaller city.
Right, because a bigger city is chasing a smaller city.
London is chasing like, some market town.
He said that, and I was waiting for that city to open up and big teeth that actually start chopping down. I was like, oh man, here we go.
So good. But there is a bionic man named Shrike.
There is a bionic man.
And
he's like a clockwork man.
Is Krang inside of him?
No, I think
Krang would have been a good addition.
Mortal Engine.
I think they were teasing Krang for the sequel.
They need Krang in this. I haven't seen it, but they need him.
Shrike does kind of look like Krang's android body. He's got that sort of vibe. He's like a Krangless.
That's all he does.
Yeah.
There's also like a balloon, so there's a lot going on in Mortal Engines.
That's Stephen Lang, yes?
I was going to say.
Stephen Lang, who you would not know that's Stephen Lang, right?
Did not.
Glow up. Big glow up on this man.
Big glow up.
I, by like his fifth scene, went like, who's this guy
Was
who
he just
kind
like
of looks
trapped
like...
in a gym for 5 years at one point? Like, is that like part of his backstory? Is like, we closed this gym with him inside it, and we couldn't open it back up.
Well, and his hair...
So he's just like, for 5 years.
His hair in this is like the Woody Harrelson Venom wig.
100%. Wow. It's like a fright wig.
Yeah.
Like for a second, you're like, is this a woman? Like, I don't mean that in like an insulting way. He's got such a sort of like dandy kind of presentation.
And he's kind of pretty in this.
Yeah, he's very pretty.
And then he becomes like just like a beef jerky man.
Right.
Like he's still a very handsome guy, but it's like, he's like all taut and sinewy and intense. Yeah.
I say it's good. In this one, the first thing I was like is, did they get somebody from Flock of Seagulls in this? Like, he really does look like he's the bassist, like not the guy you know.
Yeah, it's a very weird performance.
I didn't recognize him till the credits, honestly.
Yeah. That's a lot of this cast. It's not a big cast, but it's all people who were starting. Big people now who are just
Joan
starting
Allen
out.
is nobody at this point. It's her second movie.
Kim Greist, who I think was also Steppenwolf.
Yes, and she does Brazil the year before.
And Chud, don't forget Chud.
And Chud, of course.
Yeah.
Right. And she had been in a Miami Vice.
Okay.
What's Chud about?
Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers.
Ben's eyes just popped out of his head.
It's one of those titles that kind of explains what the movie's about.
It might have a vaporwave soundtrack. I can't say for sure.
But she's also in Throw Mama from the Train, which is
Right,
all
that's her-
vaporwave.
I mean,
No, it's Mortal Engine, right? The train. Right. Train or the cities are on wheels.
They're engine
They're on
cities.
like treads.
They're
They've
not
got
on
like
tracks,
caterpillar
They got like
tracks.
tank
Throw
straight
Mama
tanks.
from the Mortal Engines.
Yeah.
That's going to be a movie one day.
Can I throw
Kim
something?
Greist is weird.
Can I throw something even weirder? I mean, say what you want to say about what's weird of her career, and then I'm going to top it off.
No,
with
it's
the
just
ultimate
that it's
weirdness.
like Throw 'em out from the train the next year, Punchline in '88. But
And
like
she has some family movies. She has House Guest. She has the two Homeward
she's
Bound.
in House Guest and Homeward Bound. She's in Why Me, the what's it called? Christopher Lambert movie. But then it's like, that's it. Then she just stopped making movies. The end.
Okay. Speaking of Kim Greist going completely off the grid, when my mother was attempting to be an actress in the early 80s, Kim Greist was part of her group of struggling actresses, and then she was the one
She got
who
plucked.
made it.
Right.
But when I was born, she apparently was like very good with me. When I was a baby, she was like,
So
Kim.
she gave up acting then?
She was like, Kim was my only friend who would like change diapers.
Oh, wow.
And so then my brother was born 3 years later. Kim Greist was my brother's godmother. He has never met her.
Wow.
And
So
it was
where'd she
one of
go?
those things, much like her career, where she just fucking disappeared. And my mom was like, I don't know what happened to her. She never showed up.
They should do a podcast about this.
Maybe one time when he was a baby. James has never spoken to her.
She abandoned you.
She's been my brother.
Oh, okay.
But so like, do you think now,
music.
like, you could still invoke it? Like, you know, I mean, you know, obviously I'm joking, but like, if the Noonan family was lost at sea or whatever,
Maybe.
like, could James be like, Kim Greist, godmother, I'm calling you in?
Well, James is my brother. He's a bit of a wheeler dealer. So he, for a while, would use it as like an honorific he could throw around to other people. So every couple of years, he'd anoint a new godmother.
Oh, so he's like, my godmother, she's in absentia. So,
Yes.
right, this title is hot. It's ready.
Right.
Like, yeah, who wants it?
Because I was like first kid, I got my parents like high school friends.
Right, you
like
got the
I got
sort of
their
loyal,
two
right.
best old friends. And then my mom took a big swing on I called her Kim Violin when I was little.
Kim Greist?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I liked rhyming.
Is that why she left
And she
society?
stormed off in a huff. Yeah, she moved to an engine
I'm not
city.
a fucking violin.
Yeah. But
Get outta
it
here.
is weird. She stopped acting and stopped godmothering right about the same time.
Well, she's good in this, I guess. She doesn't have a lot
She
to
doesn't
do.
have a lot to do.
Yeah.
Chud mother.
Chud mother.
That's what I'd call her.
Yeah. Maybe she went underground.
But yeah, like third build is Farina, who is, as far as I know, still just like a salami man, right? Like he's not like, it's not like people are like, Farina's in this, I'm there,
No,
right?
this is like his first real dialogue role.
Yes, it 100% is.
Right.
Right.
I like it when he pops into things. It's great.
Oh, when's he bad?
Exactly. And
It's never-
I can't believe the Academy left him out of the.
I know, that was
that
great.
was killing me
Fucked up.
to this day.
Yeah.
Getting
so
Farina,
nuts.
man.
There were a couple ones this year, too, that I thought were really fun.
There's
a
always
lot.
some weird ones.
Yeah, no Vern Troyer.
Yeah.
Arlie
I had
Ermey.
money on that.
How do you not put Arlie Ermey in your freaking?
Yeah.
They didn't have. Yeah. well, Who? I wonder who that poor soul is who has to decide.
I also
Where the
get-
producer's like, you have 2 minutes.
Yes.
Like that's it. Like.
But I also feel like, why isn't that thing like 6 minutes long? Isn't that
I'd
everyone's
watch
favorite
it.
part?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's sort of the part that feels the most kind of communal.
Well, yeah, I feel that same way about when they give the honorary
Yeah.
Oscars. Like you have to like find the fucking stream to do
Right.
it.
I mean, make it its own show called like Hollywood Funeral.
Right.
And I would watch it. You don't have to show the shots of the caskets or
Yeah.
urns or whatever they chose.
They should
but,
honestly,
just do the memoriam. Show me clips.
In Memoriam should have a commercial break.
Right.
That's my pitch.
We sort of fade down. So then you could have like a bunch of bookenders. Because obviously, like the bookends are the hottest slots in the In
Right.
Memoriam, right? Like
Right.
Albert Finney, I think, was the end this year.
Right.
But this way you could like
You fade
Albert
out,
Finney
you have a
fade out
series
like
of Diet Coke
Applebee's,
commercials,
right?
right.
And then you fade back
There are
in.
places I remember. You just back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Manhunter.
That'd roll. Okay.
Hey,
All right.
Farina,
Okay.
probably one of the best stashes in the game.
An amazing
So
stuff.
good.
I can't think of really many other.
I
who's
think
like
if you tried to
stash
like
boys?
shave it off, your razor would like chip as well. I feel like it's like painted on or something, right? Like, hey, Farina, can you shave? And he's like, you can try. I've tried.
Now I'm picturing trying to use a paint chipper.
Right, yeah, where you're like, ding, and it just like snaps. And he's like, see, it's my curse. He's like the Hulk. Like, he's like, I tried to kill myself, didn't work.
He comes onto the set of Get Shorty. There's 3 scissors in his mustache. He's like, I tried again. I'm
Can you-
sorry.
I don't
I'm
know
sorry.
what to
Can't
tell
do
you.
it. Can't be done.
His barber is hanging off of his mustache. I haven't figured out how to shake him off yet.
Like Martin Scorsese called him. He's like, I want you to play Mr. No Mustache. And he's like, can't do it. Sorry.
Oh my
I tried.
God. That's making me think of Cesar Romero, who played the
Yes.
Joker and just painted over it.
Yes.
Right. That would be good if Farina in one movie had just painted over it. And
You
no
know
one
me.
acknowledges it.
A 12-year-old boy with no mustache. I wish Farina had done like a Clifford-style movie.
Oh my
like
God.
a comedy where Farina just played a child.
I think Clifford is great.
Hey, Dad, come on. You got to bring me
Hey,
my baseball game.
Clifford is an all-time
Clifford's one of
classic.
Ben's
Yes.
Great movie.
So Farina gets
I wanna say Mason.
Jack Crawford.
Yes.
That's the other thing I love about the Hannibal franchise is that different actors have played all of the supporting characters.
Right. So
like Jack Crawford was Scott Glenn,
Farina,
after this,
Harvey Keitel.
Harvey Keitel, and then Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
Like they keep switching it up.
That's a pretty great crew. There.
It's a good crew.
Yeah.
I think that's wait, did someone play him in Hannibal or he might not be in Hannibal, Jack Crawford.
Isn't Jack Crawford? He's
Lawrence
Lawrence
Fishburne.
No, in Hannibal the movies. I'm sorry, this is
Oh.
confusing. Yes,
Isn't
yeah.
Ray Liotta?
No, Ray Liotta is Paul Crandler.
Sort of
Who's the
one
sort of
guy with the
up-and-comer.
Justice.
Yeah,
Paul
at
Crandler from Justice.
Exactly.
Right.
And other people have played like he's in Silence for like one scene.
That's the
Right,
one
yes,
scene
right,
when
yeah.
it's after Corman is the one guy, and
Right.
then Paul Crandler from Justice.
Yeah. And then of course Ray Liotta's brain gets eaten.
Yes.
And the last scene of Hannibal is Hannibal feeding more brain to a child on an airplane.
We were saying how crazy it was. So, like, the rumor mill pre-Hannibal was, like, crazy. Like, people were so in for that movie, and the rumor mill was like fucking Avengers Endgame. But all the leaks would sound like Jackass stunts, where they'd be like, the rumor is there's a guy without eyelids. And people would be like, no! And they'd be like, the rumor is someone eats his own brain. Like, they were all just like, you won't believe how fucking nuts this movie is.
And then, as I said to you last night, you read the book and you're like, they toned the book down. The movie is subtle compared to the book.
Yeah.
In the book, Clarice eats the brain too, and she's like, good. Like,
I remember reading because there was a huge deal when the book came out, like because
of course,
it was Thomas Harris,
right? And it'd been like 10 years, right?
And then the whole scene with the Italian detective, like that's super way gorier than they end the movie.
Who is disemboweled on screen in the movie? To be clear, it's not like he falls asleep and dies.
Took some pills. Hannibal just gave him some pills.
Hannibal just sort of like punches him in the face and he falls over. No, I mean, disembowelment, you know. What's that? The guy from Casino Royale.
Giancarlo Gianni? Yeah.
Who only plays haggard Italian cops who drink 8 espressos. Like, that's his vibe.
That was the 90s into the aughts for him.
Yeah. He's just like, James Bond, I'm sorry. I
don't know what to tell you. You shouldn't be here.
I love that Quantum of Solace has James Bond throwing his body in the garbage and being like, he wouldn't care.
Yeah.
He might care.
I like it really felt like Alpha Casino Royale. It's like, maybe this is the other pillar of the franchise.
Garbage.
Yeah.
All right. Hannibal. Jack Crawford brings Will Graham out of retirement to deal with the Tooth Fairy, who is biting people.
Yes.
He's a biter.
That's the only thing they have to go off of are the bite marks.
In the book, and I feel like in Red Dragon, there's more with someone makes like a tooth, like a cast of his mouth and all that. I feel like that's not in here.
There's one shot where the guy from The Thing shows it to Crawford.
You mean the guy from the actual movie,
from The Thing? Right,
okay.
from the guy with the hands from The Thing.
Got it. I was just making sure.
Can I throw out my complaint about this guy?
Which guy?
Tooth Fairy.
Oh, sure.
Here's one thing I don't like about him.
I mean, on paper, he seems great.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Develops people's photos and videos and stuff. A service.
Like his use of nylons.
Sure, has a cool, like, Mars.
His house
is
so goddamn gorgeous. I love the lighting in this house. Is just it's just gorgeous.
He has an appreciation for cinema. He likes to project.
I genuinely, I saw that and I was like, fuck, should I get something like this in my apartment? Like, one wall is just a big image of something.
Should I cultivate a Tooth Fairy vibe?
This is my complaint, okay? Because I like a lot of things about this guy, okay?
Uh-huh.
Develops photos.
We said the nice
things. Finds his next target.
Uh-huh.
Sneaks into their home. Stabs them a bunch.
Sure.
Fucks them up.
Right.
Maybe fondles.
Little fondling.
Bites them.
You got it. It's already, you're right there.
And then he leaves without even leaving a quarter under their pillow. I mean, the nerve of this guy.
You're right.
It'd be cool if he took teeth, right? Just start ripping them out.
Cool. Yeah.
Just have a bag of them with him.
I know. What a jerk.
Hey, Penny, please.
He doesn't want to be called the Tooth Fairy. Though.
I know.
Like, he wants to be called the Red Dragon.
Yeah.
He should leave dragons.
He should
at their
burn
house
people.
Or whatever.
I guess he does course correct with Stephen Lang by burning him.
Yeah, he burns him.
He burns
him up real good.
That's probably
that guy is fully burned.
That's to me weirdly the most upsetting thing in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's
that
no
sequence
good.
is real bad.
Which is it? Because in Red Dragon, he bites his lips off.
Yeah.
In the book and in Red Dragon. And in Red Dragon, Anthony Hopkins, like, spits the lips. Like, it's gross. In this, it's a little quieter.
Well, Ray Fiennes when he gets.
I mean, Ray Fiennes.
When he gets. Yeah,
sorry.
Philip
Yeah,
Seymour.
I mean,
Yeah.
And this is just the weird kiss, which is disturbing.
It was more unsettling kind of to me. Like, it was more visceral. Like, this and, like, the shot of the old guy, like, at his security desk. Like,
I love that guy.
That was one of my favorite scenes of this from the beginning. I was like,
and then just the wheelchair right at the camera.
Because he's turning around a little bit because he's like, I run this parking garage. I think I hear wheels, but those sound way too small.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wait, what? It's a wheelchair?
What kind of fucked up car is this coming down the road?
Yeah, somebody grilling in my parking garage?
The new 1986 burn-in wheelchairs are out early.
Freddie Lounds sort of bothers them.
Right.
And Graham pretty quickly goes to see Hannibal Lecter.
Right. I love this character of just this sort of like saucy, like sort of like enfant terrible crime reporter.
Yes, for the Tattler.
Right, like he acts like he's fucking like, you know, some like 1940s like Hollywood gossip columnist.
Right. But he talks to profilers and he's like, I've got the hot scoop from inside the FBI's like criminal psychology unit.
Did he eat their buttholes or what?
And also, like, once he is burned up on a wheelchair, it seems like that's it. Like, he was the one fly in the ointment.
The only one.
It's not like there's like 6 guys trying to do this.
And that type is now a podcaster.
That type is now a podcaster.
That guy would just have a podcast. He would record it in like his murder shack, you know, out in Delaware or whatever.
Yeah.
And be like, Freddie Lounds, right? You won't believe what this guy does.
He would
Murders
also
people.
do Casper ads.
Right. Exactly.
If you're going to murder someone, you need to line your basement with Casper mattresses so the sound doesn't get out.
This thing absorbs entrails.
Yeah.
Now,
any viscera.
If you want to send a finger or a body part through the mail, Stamps.com gives you a free digital scale.
You all out of people to eat? Well, Blue Apron's got your back.
Right, exactly. That'll sort of tide you over.
Yeah.
Teach you some new techniques.
We all love killing people, but figuring out how to serve them and best prepare them is daunting.
So, what the Lecter scene? Let's talk the Lecter scene.
Well, I was gonna say, I just like how quickly, like, he's like, okay, I'll do this one case for you, and then it's like back into all the fucking bullshit.
He can't
like,
not do
like,
this, right? He's like, yeah, I'll do this one case.
And he's like,
my
doing
first
this
stop should
fucking
probably be
method
the guy
acting
who
thing.
traumatized me beyond repair. I'll go talk to him.
Yeah,
I think this is one of the few movies where a character talking to himself this much makes total sense.
Of
Because
course,
like this guy just stares at a fucking picture
Right.
for like an hour and is like, do I kiss the body?
Right.
Do I bite it?
Oh,
But the Lecter scene rules. It's interesting how many sort of visual similarities there are to the Silence of the Lambs thing.
Sure.
In sort of the shot reverse shot through the bars.
But the Silence of the Lambs sort of rolls him out, where it's like she's walking down the long hallway, he's standing, he's like, you know, ready to sort of like have
gets
fun.
a hero's welcome.
Where in this, he's big, you know, he's kind of brutal.
You're going to see your ex. Like, that's what this feels like.
Yes.
And I think that's on purpose, but like, and he's so...
And he's like a caged animal. Like, he's like eyeing him like,
And
it's like, oh, I want to eat that
Cox
face.
is small, too.
Yeah,
whereas
he's kind of a bowling ball.
like Brian Dennehy was supposed to be this character, I guess.
I think so. And said, like, you should
go
call
see
Brian
this
Cox.
guy.
Right.
And like he says, that's like what I like about it. He is so small. He doesn't stand up the way Hopkins does, where he's so presented. He's just like, come on, baby. Come tell me. Tell me your trouble.
He's sort of burly.
He's hunched over. He's very still. And he's like very quiet. Like he just has that sort of like professor arrogance.
Yes.
But Hopkins is so stylized. And this is like kind of the most like real world scary version.
Yes. It's the most like banal take on him.
Right.
Because like Mads Mikkelsen, like Will Graham eventually sees him as a jet black demon with antlers.
Yes.
Like when he's like having his hallucinations.
Yeah.
And like, do you know that Pete Holmes joke about Silence of the Lambs? Where he's like, he was like, when I was learning to make movies, I didn't realize the script was never going to be exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And then like in Silence of the Lambs, when after the Chianti scene, he goes like, and he's like, right, the script doesn't just have 40 Fs. Like Hopkins just decided to do that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Hopkins is so theatrical.
Right.
Whereas this guy's not theatrical at all.
At all.
Right.
There were no Fs in the script.
I don't know. Maybe we should look at the script and it's like his liver.
They didn't give no Fs. Yeah.
Actually, from
another 10 comedy.
Inside the Actors Studio, I remember the Hopkins episode very specifically being like, I just did that.
Right.
I just did that off. Yeah.
Right.
And they were like,
like, what's the Demi's like? What if you like make a weird sucking sound for 10 seconds?
You just imagine the script supervisor coming up to him after that take and go like, okay, so Anthony, just a few notes. First of all, I don't know which draft you've been working off of, but the one I have here doesn't have 17 consecutive Fs in it. Also, you're saying Chianti wrong?
Right.
And he's like, oh, cool, fuck off.
Also,
do not care.
Also, how exactly do you eat fava beans?
Yeah.
I just suck them in.
Yeah.
He's like a Roomba. He's like one by one.
I'm Kirby, the Nintendo game. I am Kirby. I just suck them in.
Yes. Brian Cox or Anthony Hopkins would be an excellent Kirby.
Brian Cox would be a good Kirby.
Brian
He's
Cox
round.
would be a really good
right?
Kirby.
He's kind of burly.
Okay, wait. Here's an actual thing.
Full of
What if he's
hot
a
air.
bruiser?
Here's an actual thing. How good would Brian Cox be as Bowser?
Very good.
Man.
Very good.
Very good.
I mean, we have our fun and games, but let's get really
The
serious.
crown hangs heavy.
Not voicing either.
No.
This
No.
full
Full
shell
body,
on that
yep.
back.
Not motion capture either.
Not at all.
It's got to be an entirely practical performance.
I think he'd be good.
I think he'd be.
He's got the time.
But he would finally fucking win his Oscar.
He would be better than Dennis Hopper was in that role. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys seen? And I say this because the two of you are on the show. Because I would usually get laughed at if I asked David and Ben this question. Have you guys seen the Masters of the Universe documentary on Netflix?
No,
I did not know this existed, but I know that film.
Yeah, it's a documentary about the history of like He-Man as a brand, but they go into the movie a lot.
Yeah.
And you're like, Langella's not going to sit down and talk.
No, but he's like, right, this was a character.
He's like,
Right, yeah.
it's probably my favorite role I've ever played.
Really?
Yeah, and he was like, I genuinely, it's one of my greatest regrets in life that I never got to play Skeletor again. I miss him. And they're like, so like the costume, like you have all this heavy shit and like the makeup. And he was like, I was actually really angry that they took the fight scenes away from me and had the stunt guy do them. He's like, I spent 8 months training.
I mean, I was surprised because they didn't put him in the Canon documentary where they talk extensively about that. Because I think he didn't have anything bad to say. Like the other guys were like, we want you to talk shit about this company. And he's like, no, I loved it. I loved it.
This documentary is like mostly about the toys, and there's 20 minutes about the movie, and they talk to Langella, and he's like, yeah, people think I did it because my son liked it, and that's true, but I also thought Skeletor was one of the great characters I ever read.
So this interview is like Frost Skeletor?
It's Frost Skeletor. I just want Cox to do that. I want Cox to be like, this isn't a paycheck for me. I see Bowser as like a King Lear figure.
I've grabbed women from towers all the time.
All the time.
It's one of my favorite things to do.
Bowser wants to get married. That's Bowser's deal, right?
He's just pushy.
Who's Mario?
Who's Mario?
Yeah, who's our Mario today? If
Dennis Farina.
Hoskins was just so.
Hoskins was
Farina.
so
Farina
good.
would have been a good Mario.
He's got the mustache.
Not sure
These
if there
Goombas are everywhere.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dennis Franz could still do
don't
it.
know.
Dennis Franz could be Mario.
He could be like old Mario, though.
Yeah.
That would be like Mario,
yeah.
The Dark Knight Returns Mario.
Come
Where
out of
he's
retirement for one last mushroom.
You know, like lifts out of the armchair.
Yeah.
He's like,
Or
oh,
like-
yeah, one last mushroom.
He failed. Like the princess was never rescued, and he's an old withered man, and he's like, I'm not going to die on this deathbed. I'm going to actually try to get that princess. I don't care what castle she's in.
I'm going to get into a joint to do a super jump.
Then he has some Metamucil and sits down for a while.
Yeah.
I start my scene. This is Brian Cox. I start my scene with the back to the audience so I can pull them in. I'm trying to seduce them in an entirely different way. When Tony's doing it, Mr. Hopkins, he's an indefatigable force. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
He's so theatrical. You know, he does that thing where he's like closer, you know, to Jodie Foster.
My favorite part about the Brian Cox Lecter is that he does this phone shit, and it's right out of War Games.
I
He's like,
love that
hacking the
stick of
phone.
gum. Oh my god!
This movie rules because of all the old tech shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost made me
the part
think,
where they're looking up the IDs too, and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
right, yeah.
I just feel like technology in general is like kind of ruined procedurals a little bit because like computers it's like less engaging
Yeah.
than watching people like
100%.
telefax and like
the Will Graham experience is that he is beyond technology. Like he can get in the mind.
He's a
That's
method
that's his
actor.
whole thing.
He's
Right.
Daniel Day-Lewis. He gets lost. My favorite thing in the entire movie is that he uses the gum to hack the phone and then just eats the stick of gum. Why
Right,
wouldn't he chew the gum while he's on the phone now that he got the number he wanted?
You're right. That's a cool move. That's sort of like a low key like superstar move.
Right. He's like, I pulled this off. I don't need a second shot at this.
Well, it's just like the way that you were talking about Hopkins as like he's just presented there and he's a force.
Right.
Where like this does like just the way he talks, like it's very normal. Like not to say there's normal, he's very conversational.
He is.
Whereas there's no big statements the way that Hopkins is.
Yes.
It's also sort of just crazy to imagine going to the theater, not knowing who Hannibal Lecter is, maybe having not read the book, certainly not knowing about the Hopkins thing, right? Yeah. And you're like, oh, that was an interesting scene. That was pretty arresting. Yeah. They have the one super like that's the same atrocious aftershave.
Yeah.
And then like the thing where he's like, you have disadvantages, you're insane, right? Which is like cute.
It's a great line. Yeah.
It's such a good line. But in like Red Dragon, that is like that was in the trailer.
Yeah,
that was like the hottest line. Whereas this, Petersen says it pretty flatly.
What's also this
He's
movie,
so afraid to be in the room with him.
this movie doesn't hype up Hannibal in the same way that Silence of the Lambs
you
does.
meet him like 10 minutes in, and he's just there.
Right, and you're just like, this Petersen guy seems to be cautious about going to meet this guy.
Sure.
But when he's like in the room and he's like that civilized and that well spoken and that sort of calm, you're like, what's going on here? And it's like as the scene unfolds, you start to realize how terrifying this guy is.
And I think the way he exits is so like that whole thing where he's so panicked all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Or it's more like he knows he can't lose. He's about to lose his cool.
Right.
Like Lecter will see him melt down.
I actually like, and it's entirely a testament to his work, but I like feel physically uncomfortable watching Petersen in this movie.
Totally.
It's like
100%.
watching Britney Spears shave her head, and you're just like, I can't get any satisfaction from
Right.
this.
And it's sort of an interesting lead character to have because
Yeah.
he's right. You're kind of like, dude, stop it.
Right.
Like, oh no.
Right.
No, don't do this.
And in the age of the hero cop,
Oh,
like,
yes.
it's so insane to have this and be like, yeah, this is our guy.
Right. And he's like, just like so like sweaty the whole movie.
You've got that early scene where he goes to the crime scene
Yeah.
and it's like this empty house and he's talking to himself.
Right.
When does he imagine the woman with like the white eyes? Is that a little later?
That's later.
That's
Yeah.
so good.
He's
That's
got the weird
amazing.
thing. It's the thing that bugs me about my own hair where the sides and the back puff out more than the top.
He's got a puffy hair.
Yeah.
Well, he's not a silver fox. He's a silver lion.
He's
got a really big mane, and it's
Well put.
Yeah,
It's
very
lovely.
well
I can't
put.
keep my eyes off.
Right, because foxes are sleek and
Yeah.
lions are majestic.
Peterson's a majestic guy.
He's a majestic guy. Billy Petersen.
Billy Petersen. We got to do Friedkin so we can do To Live and Die in L.A.
We
He's
do.
so good in that too.
It is crazy now that we're also going to cover 2 Hannibal movies in the same year.
Yeah, we are. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll never cover Red Dragon probably.
We definitely will cover Hannibal Rising.
Of course. Fucking
You guys-
Peter Weber.
You guys are going to go through the McG series, right?
Yes.
Girl with a Pearl podcast.
Yeah. Pod with a cast earring.
We could do Ridley Scott. I've always wanted to. It's just he just makes too many movies. That's his problem.
I feel like you and I are on the same page. If we covered someone with that long a filmography again, we would maybe do the Spielberg thing where we
We'd
split
break it up. We'd
Yeah.
find some sort of midpoint.
Yeah.
For Scott, I guess it's the 90s.
Right.
Like when he like truly goes off the reservation.
Someone tweeted at us like when you guys started covering Tim Burton, my wife was not visibly pregnant, and now
Right.
she's given birth.
Borth.
It was a birth.
She borthed.
Yeah, she birthed.
Come on. What else do we want to talk about in this movie?
Well, you mentioned the white eyes, and I thought
I love that shit.
isn't it so
And the white
good?
teeth, the like glowing mouth.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like because
It's kind of keepy.
Yeah.
It's his
Yeah.
one keepy touch.
And Petersen is like, he's going crazy trying to get in the
Right.
mind of what the Tooth Fairy is, and he wants to be seen and desired by other people. So it's like almost like I think they're supposed to represent like a reflection.
Yes.
Because he does take out mirrors and break them
He
up.
likes
and
mirrors. He likes
replaces
the
eyes.
moonlight.
Yeah.
Like, right.
Yeah.
And
So
there's all these good reversals in this. Like I always stick with the apparently this was a pain in the ass to shoot. The scene with him in the airplane. And he's dreaming of his home life while the murder photos are just everywhere.
That's so great.
And I was just like, oh, man.
Yeah.
I've been there before. I've like watched the wrong movie on an airplane.
100%,
and
right.
it's like,
who hasn't watched a snuff film or kept
Oh, yeah.
around
I've
murder
had-
photographs on an airplane?
I've had Leota brains and some Tupperware on an airplane,
No
and a
question.
kid wanted
You
to eat
gotta,
them.
you gotta,
Yeah.
because I mean the brains they serve on the flight are so bad.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Those are microwave
excuse
freeze
me.
dried brains. Yeah.
Flight attendant, is the motion picture today on the plane the Zapruder film? Because it's my favorite movie.
the long cut, the director's cut, please.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
right.
the director's
Frames inserted.
You know the stuff the CIA didn't cut out of it?
Could put stills in the middle of it.
They're saying these are Leota brains on the menu, but these taste like Ken Wall brains at
I
best.
was wondering who you're going to do.
I was working really
I
hard to pull. I was
Ordered
like,
Leota brands and they gave me egg noodles and ketchup.
the ultimate indignity.
Goodfellas, that's the link. Petersen's like, I won't do it. Leota's like, I will do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and then he gets his brain eaten.
What else? They do the thing where they like shame him in the Tattler.
Yes.
And that's when you have the Freddie Lounds scene.
I love
Right.
I love all that stuff. I mean,
Do you see?
yes. And
This is a little
and
slideshow.
The lab thing with the note on the toilet paper that they know they need to replace.
That
because
is really fun.
that stuff rules.
Well, because you get all the process and lab stuff.
So
like,
much good process in this movie.
Bulldog from Frasier is one of the guys. And he shows up again in Silence of the Lambs, which is really funny to me.
A bulldog from Fisher. I think Moose was what? What was he? Eddie from... He wasn't a bulldog. He was a terrier?
Yes,
Moose?
Yes, he
Jack
was.
Russell
Yes,
Terrier.
Jack Russell.
Moose?
Well said.
Thank you.
Winner of the Palm Dog.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. But all that man process stuff is so good.
Yeah.
A lot of blue light. All of his blue light.
Yeah.
I know, which critics at the time, I think, were kind of like how critics of like Soderbergh's time were like, enough with the filters. Like they were like, it's too obvious. So I love all the filters. I love all that shit.
I don't
Filters
understand
rule.
people who complain about filters.
If
I
it's
know.
pointed, I love it. Like,
Exactly.
if
Right.
you're just doing it because like I saw traffic, yellow's in this year.
Yeah.
Like, like what the fuck's that?
But I
But-
just like it where he's like, this is a blue scene. Let's make it blue.
Yeah.
Put a blue on it.
Yeah. Put a blue on it.
Blue. And blue here is sort of like homey. It's like, it's for the romance. It's for the scenes with his wife, which is weird.
Did you see those?
But sort of reflects
Yeah,
his like,
especially since
state
it feels
of mind.
like moonlight in those shots.
Right.
And then we talk about the Tooth Fairy likes the moon as well.
He does.
He's got an awesome goddamn moon in his apartment or house or whatever. And he watches people from afar in their yards.
He loves it.
Pretty nice. Whittling on trees. Not bad.
He's
The-
a peeper.
hobbyist.
He's a peeper.
Yeah.
He's a hobbyist, and he's
He
a
is a
peeper.
classic
He learns
peeper.
stuff. I mean, like I like the scenes with him in the workspace, like when we finally meet him, because all this the camera really rushes at him. I remember the first couple shots of Dollarhide. You're just like, here he is, like him moving through the thing, and like they pull back the camera really quick.
Yeah,
and it suddenly felt like you were like he got away from that distancing thing that is somehow in all of his movies, like the calm of it. All of a sudden got broken.
And also structurally, it's so cool that you hold off on seeing any of the guy for so long, and then you spend like 15 minutes just with him,
Right?
Like in his daily life. I mean, look, what did I say to you guys in the DM thread? Above all else, he's a really good housemaker.
He is. The interior decoration
Yeah.
is fantastic. He seems like a pretty good date. I mean, hey, I've never rubbed a tiger.
He's a homemaker.
Suitor brings me to a tiger to rub.
Yeah.
That's a thrilling adventure for me.
He's very polite about like he's like, I just made you a gin and tonic. It's right in front of you. I like that scene.
Yeah.
Joan Allen's great. It's a weird role.
Yes.
Like it's a slight role, but like I love Joan Allen.
I mean, look, this obviously a major Michael Mann complaint that I only think gets corrected in the last couple of films tends to severely underwrite all of his female characters.
Sure.
They just exist to be like,
Symbols.
up to me.
Right.
Or don't murder me.
Excuse me. Could
What?
you avoid murdering me?
Please, if you wouldn't mind, I'm trying to live here.
I think Madeline Stowe in Mohicans is kind of his most developed female character.
I'm going to give you a hot take.
Sure.
I think the best one is Jada Pinkett Smith in Collateral.
Well, I love Jada Pinkett Smith in Collateral. And I think she's also amazing in Ali.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. I love her in Collateral, though.
She rolls out.
Love Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah. Another person who doesn't get enough respect.
100%.
Yeah.
Does not get enough respect. Also, another person who was in Gotham.
Oh, yes, she was.
Mooney.
Fish Mooney forever.
Yeah.
Fish Mooney.
I thought she was going to be like, did she? Because she left after first season.
She's out after the first season, but then she's back and she's like even fishier
Yeah,
or whatever. Like she's like remixed.
Yeah. Something fishy's going on.
Right, exactly.
Eventually, she grows scales.
It was just so weird where they're like, this show is going to be kind of built around the Penguin. You're like, cool. And the main gangster's called Fish Mooney, and I'm like, another fish thing? Like, right? Like, like the Penguin's he
Does
eats
the
fish.
penguin eat her? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
She's got a heavy named the Glacier.
Can I say that Jada Pinkett Smith is Zombie?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I could see that actually.
Yeah.
Especially in the Fish Mooney get up.
Yeah.
Push me, Fish Mooney.
Push me, fish. Fish me, push, Mooney. Oh, my God. Manhunter, it's a masterpiece of 80s crime
Well, and I'll
cinema.
say this episode works as a sort of exploration of us descending into madness, William
Exactly.
Peterson style.
As the filters around us
Right.
are all like tinted blue.
Yeah, Ben put on a blue filter in the room where we're recording.
I feel very calming, I will say.
It is calming. It's
But
relaxing. Yeah.
it's the calm before the storm, because we should probably mention the whole like Peterson's not supposed to even go ahead of everyone and break into what's his name? Dollarhides?
Yeah, Dollarhide.
Interesting name.
Great name.
Francis Dollarhide.
And it's the most interesting way to break into someone's house is you just start running at their fucking window and jump through it.
Well, yeah, you got to go the Rambo entrance.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
And it backfires in such a great way.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
You think it's a bad idea to make a nice, loud entrance that also probably damages your body in the
Damages
process?
your body.
This guy is not a threat. He's only 6'7".
Also incapacitates you.
Yes.
You know, and we're getting to there's the thing with like his home address, right? That's the code.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yes.
pretty cool. And I
Right.
like that scene and the sort of red herring of it.
Right, it's not the Bible.
Right. Well, and also the kid waking up
Yeah.
Kim Greist saying that they hear someone, you think it's going to be Dollarhide.
Right. But
And it's all the SWAT guys being like, hey, how's it
Hi, what's
going?
up? And and it's the guy, isn't it the guy who the Terminator 2, the T-1000 finger pokes?
Oh, no, it's
At the
not
door?
him, but
It's not
I
him?
know what
It's
you're
similar
It's
vibe.
that guy.
And he
That
looks
guy
very
is in
similar.
shit.
Yeah.
Yes, he
That guy's in shit.
Yes.
That redhead guy, whatever.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
He's in
Yeah.
Gremlins 2. They're both
Yes.
in Gremlins 2.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the twin brothers.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
And
Right.
they're in Looney Tunes Back in Action as
Right.
the Warner Brothers.
Oh, really?
Right.
Joe
There's
Dante loves them.
another guy in this film that's uncredited. I forget the actor's name. He's at the start where he's like saying, "Oh, the the VHS tapes of the families are in your place, William Petersen." And he's been in like everything. He was in Stand by Me as like the bad dad, like the wrong kid died.
Yes.
And
Forget his name.
It's killing me because I know he's been in so much other stuff.
I thought you were going to bring up the fact that in the one of the scenes where we're breaking down, like we're getting ready to go find him, Chris Elliott.
Yes,
That is wild.
Thank
Flew
you.
out the
Thank
mic.
you,
I knew
Chris
there was
Cabin.
someone we
This
were
is the
forgetting.
year
Holy
before
fuck.
The Abyss. It's,
Right.
it's prime Chris Elliott's in a
Yeah.
scene.
I wouldn't forgive myself if we didn't mention Chris Elliott.
The best.
Also,
Cabin Boy himself.
and Get a Life
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
and The Late Show with David Letterman.
That's what's weird is that like before he started having a proper acting career, it was like Letterman sketches, then like one scene roles in totally dramatic films, playing straight perfunctory roles, and then he becomes like weirdo comedy actor.
Right.
I was expecting him to have like a zinger or something.
Yeah,
in the
no,
scene.
nothing.
He's just,
He just dispenses some info.
Yeah.
And
There's
same
a lot
thing,
of
like,
office chat in
The
this
Abyss,
movie.
he just reads the shit off the monitor.
He's like, there's an alien and
Yeah.
it's saying something. Like, he
looks
doesn't
like
do
it's
anything.
in the Abyss.
But lots of office chat. Really, like
Yeah.
80% of this movie is office chat.
Yeah.
Is like brightly lit rooms. Farina in a black suit, like looking stressed
That's
out.
the thing I like is that like even though it's dealing with like these grotesque, like horrific murders, the office scenes have the exact same like aesthetic to them as like Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the first one where it's just like this is just like workaday thing. Like imagine like what greater horror than having this be your day job.
Although you get to scramble a lot of choppers and jets. And
Some good chopper action in this
Yeah.
one.
It's descrambling. I love the Tattler. Just what a silly name for like
Tattling. It's like, oh, I can't wait to see what's been tattled this
Yeah.
week. Tattling is bad.
Yeah.
and awful.
No one likes a tattler.
Childish.
And they also print the most obscure, odd personals. That's
Right.
like avid fan.
right.
Right.
Bizarre.
Hey, but that's how you made your money in the 80s, in the
Yeah.
80s print business.
You had Tattle.
Yeah, serial killer personals.
Yeah.
So the
But that whole system is cool of them realizing that's how they're communicating.
That's cool.
the moment where you realize the Dollarhide and Lecter like in communication is like
because
fuck.
Dollarhead's like Lecter, cool guy.
Yeah.
I hear he eats them. I just
Game,
bite.
recognize game.
Yeah, me, I just
He's
bite.
just chewer.
right, right, exactly.
He's a chewer and
I'm
he's an
a
eater.
nibble.
And I love the Petersen detail of like make sure the sign in the background's a little fuzzier because we want him to be able to make it out, but not
Like, not
make,
know
make
that
him
we're-
think that we didn't want
Exactly,
right.
And then there's the denouement. I mean, we've talked about this movie. I mean, we're fine, right? Plot wise, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we've forgotten before the.
We did a little less literal plotting, but
fine,
we
whatever.
covered the things.
Yeah, I think those are the main things.
Right.
Yeah, the break-in. Yeah, we got through them.
Right. There's the big break in the shootout scene where some cops needlessly die because William Petersen rushes in, by the way. We see like
Yeah.
some dude's brains or something.
Yeah, there's one really gory shooting death. Yeah, because he's got a shotgun. I want to say, Michael Mann spent several years corresponding with an imprisoned murderer called Dennis Wayne Wallace, which sounds like something Michael Mann would just do for kicks.
Yeah.
And Wallace told him he was obsessed with a woman he didn't know, and that Iron Butterfly's song "Indagata da Vida" was like their song in his head. Like he told Mann this, like, I would always hear it if I saw her. And so Mann was like, cool, gonna use it in my movie. That's like that's my denouement.
Do you have any idea what started that correspondence?
Oh, I'm probably just chatting. No,
Good
I
fan.
don't know. I don't know.
Big fan.
Charlie
research.
Manson
Michael Mann was a
wouldn't
big fan
write
of his work. Right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
yes,
right,
yes.
yes,
I think
yes.
he probably wrote to all the serial killers because you mentioned Hannibal.
Yeah.
Had much buildup as Avengers Endgame in the press and whatnot.
Yeah.
I just want that Avengers of serial killers. You get Charlie Manson. Hannibal's kind of a fictional creation, but let's say he's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, well, that's the thing. Would you want to go all fictional, or would you want to go?
How about a mix? Like maybe,
Ooh.
Interesting.
Michael Myers, maybe?
Yeah,
He's a fun guy.
Well, even less talkative. I mean, he'd be more of a Groot.
Yeah, and we can't
Type
do
character.
you can't do Jason Voorhees because he'd smell too much.
Yeah.
And you're going on like sky carriers. Is
It's
that what they
also
have?
one of those things where like Jason feels a little more like monstery than Michael Myers, who is just
Right.
like, this is a very skilled serial killer.
You could easily meet Hannibal in the what is it called? Asylum, a psychiatric institute.
Here's
Yes.
something else I just found out that I have to tell you. They couldn't afford a fake plane for the plane scene, so he just booked a plane. He booked the whole crew onto a plane, like Chicago to Orlando. And then when the plane took off, they took out cameras and started filming. And the stewardesses were like, "What are you? You can't do this."
What?
They took it hostage.
That's insane.
That's amazing.
That's if you did that now, Michael Mann would be in prison.
Yes.
They'd be like, no, no
man.
plane antics.
Gitmo.
Can I tell you guys, I pitched this to David the other day, talking about like big, ultimate, epic crossover team-up movies we want to see. We're only 2 in, but I think he's keeping a good pace, and pretty soon we could get the ultimate team-up movie of Nicholas Hoult playing 20th century novelist.
Oh yeah,
Oh man,
got Tolkien.
And we got
We got
Salinger.
Salinger.
He's working through them.
So who should he play next?
Wow.
Elmore Leonard.
L. Ron Hubbard.
Oh yeah, L. Ron Hubbard and Elmore Leonard.
Only as a novelist. I want a movie that's just about him writing his novels.
Like, what if Earth was the battlefield? Right. There is like literally a scene in Tolkien where he looks distantly into middle distance, like a fellowship, like that. That
Or you could
happens in
play
that
like
movie.
Raymond Chandler and just be like, "Oh wait, what's that? A gun? I saw a guy with a gun. Let's put that in my novel."
Let me write 100 books.
High Earth. No.
No,
Low
like
Earth?
balls it up through. Yeah.
Wait a sec. Middle Earth.
There's definitely a scene in Tolkien where he goes middle, like he says that.
Is there a ring thing in it?
I mean, he has to
You see him
get
get
a
married,
ring.
and
Yeah,
he goes
gets
like,
married.
with this ring, I thee right.
bind. You're really sure.
Oh, sorry, honey. Let's just say a goblin took my ring.
Takes out his typewriter on the altar.
That's why I haven't been wearing my wedding band
Yeah.
because a golem
Yeah.
took it.
wait a
Sure, let's
second.
just say
Went
that.
into a volcano. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that's divorce. Does he get divorced by throwing his wedding ring into a volcano?
Wow, Mount
No, he
Doom. Mount
never
Doom
got
was
divorced.
divorced.
Yeah, Mount Doom was divorced.
Mount Doom was divorced.
Yeah, so I don't know. Dollarhide sees Joan Allen kissing someone, goes nuts.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
He puts it together. Graham puts it all together. He's a film
He's
guy.
seen the photos.
Yep.
He's seen the film
He's
before.
cased the house through
He's
that.
the original 24-hour photo.
Yes.
Side the photo.
That's a great moment too. Just like the
1 hour
padlock,
photo, not
the
24
pets.
hours.
How he?
Oh, yeah. Of
You added
course.
23 hours to
Yeah,
that.
jeez. I overshot by a lot.
You really did.
What a bad business.
1 million hour photo.
Yeah.
Like that's the sequel.
Well, what I like about that scene before he takes Joan Allen is you're just in. There's a freaking rocking song, "Strong as I Am."
Yeah.
blaring.
Oh, that song rules.
rock.
Yeah.
And then you see him literally pull the top of his car like off.
Yep.
And I'm like, I just assumed he was a string bean up until
Right.
now.
No.
Yeah.
No, he's superhuman.
He's like a beast.
Oh, the other thing we should talk about is
Well, especially if
if he's trying to get into dragon mode.
I am the dragon.
He has dragon energy.
This does have big DE. Yeah.
the fucking stocking over the head look.
It's scary.
Very scary.
Yeah, but has anyone been fooled by that? I could still make this guy out in a mug shot.
Well, if someone did that
Of
now,
course.
I'd be like, Manhunter? Are you like a Manhunter? But like if a serial killer had half stocking, I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
Michael Mann. I love him.
Yeah.
Clever reference.
Yeah. Box office game?
Well, just want to say the shootout is cool.
Yeah, yes.
I love a man shootout.
Yeah.
I love his weird approach to gunshots with this sort of like stuttery kind of like approach to gunshots.
Tom Noonan with a one-handed shotgun shot. That
Pretty
was
cool.
wild.
Yeah.
Noonan, a zillion gallons of blood comes out of him, right?
Yes.
And there's that thing where he's lying.
Yeah.
He got stuck to the ground because it was so much fucking fake blood, and it was like hot. They had to like peel the floor off with him. Let's play the box office game. Manhunter
Big flop.
came out August 15th. Sweaty. 1986. So I am like 4 months old.
Wow.
You haven't been born.
I've not been born yet.
It made $8.6 million, which, yeah, is not good.
I'm 3, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, there you go. This is the first Dante Spinati, which is like Man's regular guy.
Just another crazy thing that this film, 30 years earlier, unadjusted, still outgrossed Black Hat.
Yes, exactly. Black Hat made less than 8.6.
I loved Black Hat.
I think Black Hat ruled.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Most people tell me I am.
Black Hat honks.
Yeah.
Good.
Honks!
Yes.
Oh my god,
Fucking
that's
honks.
so good!
It's great.
I love that.
Now I gotta wait 2 years to use it. It's cool now.
Black Hat's great.
No, Black Hat fucking rules. It is crazy. I was like, that didn't do well, right? It did like 15, and we looked it up. Like 7.
It is so good. And
7
people tell
released
me
on like 3,000 screens starring Thor.
that's insane. But people tell me I'm wrong.
No,
No,
it's a great movie.
really
I'm
good
glad
movie.
to know that I'm right.
No,
I picked a honker.
we'll get to it, but you definitely picked a honker.
But here's the thing. You
Yeah.
hear August 1986, you're like, oh, that must have been like a trashy time for the movies, right? Like
Right.
August used to be a real dumping ground.
Yes.
Number 1 this weekend, he's going to guess the box office.
86.
For this. And
Okay.
feel free to guess yourself if Griffin's struggling. He'll usually
Sure.
beat everyone to the punch. Number 1 is maybe my like favorite movie of this year.
Wow.
It's a horror movie.
Does it win Best Picture in your spreadsheet?
No.
David has a spreadsheet
Oh,
of
boy,
who
the
he would give
spreadsheets.
the awards to every year in every category.
Really?
Don't
Can I
tell
see this
other
one?
people that?
Yes. No. This
I should only
secret
talk
thing
about
that
it
you
on my podcast.
I don't know. I
right.
think an FBI profiler needs to take a look at you.
Yeah, I probably do. No, maybe this is like a top movie. This is such a good movie.
It's a horror movie.
It's a horror movie. It's from a great director.
Is it elevated horror?
I know what it is.
Is it a Carpenter?
It's The Fly.
Oh.
Wow.
I was going to guess Fly or
Carpenter or
Thing.
Cronenberg.
What
yeah.
year is Thing? 87?
Thing's the same year as E.T., isn't it? Isn't it 84?
Oh, it's earlier? It's 80.
Let's find out.
82?
Let's find out. 82.
Okay.
Wow, a lot earlier.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's The Fly. The Fly opened this weekend.
Yeah.
Manhunter opened against The Fly.
Is he your Best Actor winner?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Thank God.
7 million. The Fly opens number 1. Manhunter's opening number 8.
Wow. Yeah.
People are not open to $2 million. Manhunter, no one wants to see that.
Fly is so good.
Do we like The Fly?
The Fly is amazing.
Fly
It's
is
pretty good.
It's an incredible movie.
Ben?
It was the one where
You a
I
Fly guy?
Buzz, buzz, buzz.
that was definitely the one where I was like, oh, I'm definitely into this guy. Like I
Sure.
had seen A History of Violence and I was like, that's really good. And then I went
Yeah.
back,
You went back,
and then
right.
I was like, oh, okay.
I think Fly was the first one of his I saw. I saw it like when I was homesick from school on TV. And when I started watching it, the first 30 minutes, I was like, oh, this must be different than that horror movie, The Fly.
Right,
Like I know I'd
right.
seen the image of like
Right.
the final creature, and I was like, well, that couldn't be in this movie.
Right.
This is some other movie that
isn't
has the
going
same
there.
title.
Right.
And then when it started transforming into that movie, I was like, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen. Yeah. Fly rules.
Number 2 at the box office is a comedy. It's also new this week. Comedy starring a Ben guy.
Starring a Ben.
Do
Ben
you
is,
agree?
Ben's laughing just
I have
looking
not
at the
seen
title.
this film.
Is
No.
it John Candy?
It is.
87?
John
Is it
Candy.
Who is Harry
86.
Crumb?
It's not Who is Harry
86.
Crumb.
Sorry.
Great outdoors.
Yeah, yes.
Armed and Dangerous.
Correct.
Yes.
Oh,
Is that him and Levy?
Him and
Yes.
Levy,
Yeah.
Robert
Meg
Loggia,
Ryan.
Young
Yeah.
Maid Ryan.
it's
Wow.
good.
Really?
You should check it out. Honestly,
Are they
It's-
cops? What are they?
They're like security guards. Like
Yes.
they,
Cool.
It's one of
Yeah.
those classic, you know this actor. Yes, I know John Candy. He has a job.
Yeah.
This job.
Well, there's a kind of a plot with waste management. I
Yes,
think.
there
And
is.
It's yeah.
It's
You should
quite
honestly check it out.
At Guard Dog Security, John Candy is undercover. You thought the tagline was over? No. That was just the first sentence. Overdressed. That's the second sentence. And keeping you safe from the scum of the earth. It's got like a scarf.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is from the climactic sequence.
Wow.
In which he has to take over a big rig truck. Yes, it's a honker, dude.
It's a honker. This one honks.
Isn't Men in Black
one
protecting
he's
you
got
from
a
scum of
fucking-
the universe?
Yes.
Very
Protecting the
similar
Earth from the scum of the
taglines.
universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they ripped it off, I guess. I don't know this movie, but it opened above Manhunter,
Wow.
finished with 15.
Wow.
All right, number 3 is...
just quick, very,
go ahead,
very
go ahead.
tiny side tangent. What keeps throwing me off, I keep on making jokes about Zachary Levi being a Jew, like in a prideful way. Like Shazam's a Jew, which he's like super fucking Christian, but it's because of Eugene Levy and Levi.
Oh.
I'm like, well, Levy's the ultimate Jew. Those names are so similar. He must be Jewish.
Yeah.
And then apparently he was one of those guys who would be like converting people on the set of Chuck.
He's
Really?
an
Heard about
evangelical Christian.
He was a guy where people would be like, hey, great take, Zach. And he's like, you want to know the secret to that take? I've accepted the Lord into my heart.
Wow.
He was one of those guys.
Right.
Yeah, I'd love to work with that.
Yeah, I'd love to be a
That would be great.
PA on that set.
That would be so fun.
It's like, just let me fucking slice the bagels, Levi.
Man, I just slept one off. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, could you
right.
not?
Yeah.
Number 3
Okay, number
is
3.
just another masterpiece of 1986.
Truly?
Yeah, we've covered it on this podcast.
We've covered it on this podcast?
We have.
Wow, Ben's nodding effusively.
I mean, it's good.
Broadcast news?
No, that's 87. That was a Christmas movie, too.
You know, 85, 86, 87, I always get mushed up wrong.
Sure.
Okay.
That's acceptable.
We've covered it. We've covered it on this podcast. RoboCop's 87.
It's a sequel.
It's a sequel. Piranha 2, The Spawning.
No, think
I'm joking.
more
I know it's
successful.
not. Okay. More successful sequel. We've covered it on this podcast. We also cover the first movie.
No.
Oh.
Aliens?
Chris is good at
Oh.
Aliens
Little
in its
hints.
5th week has
Wow.
made $55 million.
You're right. Another masterpiece.
Number 4, another sequel to the biggest hit of, I don't know, last year or whenever this fucking the original one came out. We have not covered it on the podcast.
But it's one of the big movies of the 80s.
Ooh, yeah, yes. Definitive 80s movie.
And how'd the sequel do?
Great, 115.
And do they make another one?
Hell yeah.
How many
They
did
made a
make?
bunch. They made 5 overall, if you can count like spin-offs and reboots and shit.
Count spin-offs and reboots.
That sounds tough.
Is it a Rambo?
No.
86. Spin-offs and reboots, he says.
Would that be Die Hard 2?
Nope. Damn. Nope. I think Die Hard 1 is 87.
No.
Spin-offs and reboots. Is it a star-driven? Give me
No.
Give me the genre, my friend.
Kid movie.
Oh.
That's
Kid
the
movie
genre. Kid.
with spin-offs and reboots.
This was the most successful,
This was the biggest one?
which people kind of forget.
It peaked at 2. It's a kid franchise. Spin-offs and reboots. Is a kid the star?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah. But there's like an older guy who's like, the co-star.
This is a tough one.
Chris is fucking Bigfooting you right now.
Older guy and a kid. And does the kid still work today?
Barely.
Okay.
Only in like nostalgia projects.
I'm probably way off on the timing. Bad News Bears 2?
Nope.
It's not a Feldman.
Think like a big deal. These movies were very
Like
successful.
endlessly parodied.
Sure.
Endlessly parody.
Yep.
This is the biggest.
It
Everyone's
is. But that's a
cribbing-
bad clue because you would never remember that this was
well,
the biggest.
I mean, me though. I might
sure,
remember.
Right. You might.
A kid and an older guy.
That's
oh my
right.
God.
I know exactly what
is it?
it is. It's Karate Kid Part 2.
That's right.
Wow.
The Karate Kid
Wow.
Part 2.
A literal
see, the
kid.
thing is, I
Think
don't
about it.
view him as a kid when I
Yeah.
watch those movies.
It's
I'm
in the
still,
title.
You're right. But I always looked up to Ralph Macchio to this day still.
Yes.
Because I'm like,
Boy,
maybe
oh
I could
boy.
learn karate.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Good. Hey, look. Good hints.
You're doing good here.
That's one of those weird ones where it's like touching the part of the
Yeah.
elephant and trying to describe it. Like,
Yeah.
you describe any element of Karate Kid and it sounds like a different movie.
And you would immediately know it, too.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Number 5 is a movie that is the final film of a legend, but it also stars one of the most famous actors alive when he's like young.
Is it Nothing in Common?
It's Nothing in Common. Gary Marshall's Nothing in
Oh,
Common
God.
Wow.
with Jackie Gleason. I was hoping I would get to describe the poster to you.
Well, no.
It's one of those movies where it's like two guys are looking at each other and they're not happy.
Do you know why this movie seared into my brain?
Why?
It was a question at our trivia night that we used to go to at Videology in Brooklyn, RIP.
Yeah, rip.
And it was like, what's the name of the film that stars Tom Hanks and Jackie Gleason? And I was like, oh, fuck. I'm remembering the poster.
It's a pretty boring title.
It's the two of them. They got the hats. They're staring off at each other. And I was like, what's it called? Oh, fuck, it's nothing. So it's not nothing but trouble. It's not nothing. And I was like I was like, guys, help me. And everyone else was like, I have no idea what it is.
Sure.
And I was like, what is it? It's nothing in nothing. And then I turned to our friend, member of the team, Kamen Velkovsky.
Yeah.
And I said, nothing in common. What is it?
That's right.
And it wasn't a joke. That's how I figured it out.
That's how you
his name is
out.
Kamen.
That's right.
And by saying his name, I remembered the title.
Nothing in common.
Nothing in common.
They have nothing in common,
Yeah.
I guess. What's that movie about?
I think
It's
that's
about
the
that. It's about right.
So that's your top 5.
Wow.
Top Gun is still in there. Ruthless People. Heartburn.
It is shocking to me that Ruthless People made as much money as it did.
Ruthless
it was
People
humongous.
Did
Dude.
so well.
Is it the highest
Adjusted
grossing of the Zuckers? Adjusted?
I don't know. It made 174 adjusted, which is a lot.
Yeah.
For a Danny DeVito vehicle.
But I think Airplane might be unbeatable. Airplane made 280 million adjusted.
Really? Wow.
I mean, also consider like all the money it made off of TV too, man. Airplane
Right.
is
Airplane
still
is so
on
big.
TV nonstop.
And Naked Gun 2.5 made it 186. Naked Gun 2.5 was
That's the biggest of the three?
huge. Yeah.
Is Airplane the only spoof movie that has surpassed what it's spoofing? Because
100%.
you know, like there's all those Airport 77 and
Right.
shit.
Yeah. I think, yes. And what was it? 0 Hour? Is that the other thing?
Yes, that's the
Right.
movie. It's sort of specifically
Right.
spoofing, right?
Yes. I mean, I remember watching that
Disaster
as a
movies.
kid and not having. My parents were like, you like Mel Brooks, here's another parody movie. And I was like, this isn't parodying anything. Like any Mel Brooks movie I watched, and I was like, cool, sci-fi, horror, westerns. And I was like, this isn't a genre. What's it parodying? My parents were like 5 huge movies, one of which was nominated for Best Picture.
The 1970s airplane
the
craze.
weird fucking subgenre.
Plane check, dude.
Plane
Go
check.
through all of them.
Oh, all the planes, all the airport movies.
Yeah, so you can end
God.
with
Delta Force.
I was going to say United 93. but
Oh,
No,
boy.
I'll never watch it.
Delta Force.
You'll never watch United 93? Is that
Really?
a movie that you've avoided watching because it'll just freak you out too much? Wow. Good movie.
No, thank you.
Good movie I will never watch again.
Oh,
in my
Well,
life.
especially because
Yeah.
everyone was like, no, but it's very realistic. And I was like, I'm backing further away.
You're not helping this.
It
Yes,
really
exactly.
captures what it would exactly be like to have that
It'll
experience.
turn you into a Lars von Trier or a who did we say 7 hours ago?
McG.
McG.
I'm a McG, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not true. I'll get on him.
You know the great irony? McG, Afraid of Flying, also directed Pretty Fly for a White Guy music video.
Wow.
You know, now that you say that, it makes total sense stylistically.
Yes.
It's all there.
Yeah.
It's true.
We're done.
We're done.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Final
Wow.
thoughts.
It's a great movie.
Yeah,
Manhunter
it's
is
good
a freaking
movie.
It's
great
excellent.
movie.
I feel
Check it
like
out.
for production designers to get to design the serial killer's home is
Yeah.
really fun.
It's really,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That must be like one of the best design jobs you can get.
The other one I think of that I think is really well done is Stellan Skarsgård's weird murder basement in Girl with the Dragon
I love
Tattoo.
that murder basement.
Yes.
It's a great murder
This like
basement.
very clean sort of IKEA murder
I just
basement.
like thinking about that the guy's like, all right, I love murder. I guess I'll have to design a whole basement.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And he makes it very clean. Like,
Yes,
my
his
favorite-
is very like, it's like a meat locker.
I'm more of a Silence of the Lamb murder basement. That is one of the great murder
yeah.
basement. I mean, you
That's
have a
a
You mean the
well.
pit?
very-
Yes, you have a well. You have a freaking insect place,
You
and
got
your
Ministry
wardrobe.
on in
Yeah,
the background.
please.
Insect place. I love dollar hides. I mean, just like that 80s like cube glass brick.
Yes.
The moonlight and not the moonlight from the moon, but like this
Can't fight the
light
moonlight.
that's a moon.
And also
He's got a
just
moon on his wall.
One
and
big
this,
fucking image.
yeah, and like Mars as
Yeah.
well. It's just it's surprising for a serial killer to be so into space, and I like it.
He likes space. Maybe he thinks we'd all be better off up there.
Guy's kind of a space cadet.
I do want to know how much the critics had their knives out for this movie because I think they were all just like, fuck Miami Vice. We're sick of it.
Yeah.
You know, I think people were over Miami Vice.
Right. And everyone's reading on Man was style over substance.
Exactly. And so they were like,
He's the
overkill,
MTV director.
hokey.
That's the crazy thing is that they wrote him off as the. They're like, oh, it's just all music and
this
colors.
guy's flash in the pan.
He was Man G.
Yeah.
And like Sheila Benson at LA Times was like,
Another
chic,
10
well
comedy
cast
concert.
wasteland. But I'll say this: Leonard Maltin, who liked the movie, said it's gripping and it's surprisingly non-exploitative.
Wow,
which is kind of a good take on Manhunter.
Ebert
Manhunter
liked
is
it too.
Sure. I don't know what
think.
Ebert thought.
I feel like I saw Ebert's review.
It could have definitely relished more in the killings and done all.
Right. No, it kind of cuts away from all. Like the wheelchair thing is very brief. You don't see him ripping off the guy's lips, like any like which are all like those are elements in the book that he just sort of skims over,
especially compared to all the other Hannibal Lecter projects.
Right.
And you also you don't see the murder photos like in full until that quick shot of him on the airplane,
right,
where the kid sees it.
Right, and even so, you're not seeing the worst of them. And you're seeing very quick flashes. Yeah, no, that is a fair take from Old Malty.
Good job, Malty.
Star of Gremlins 2.
He seems like more of a VH1 director than on just surfaces alone.
Yeah,
like not MTV. Like wow, like just like.
Well, see, this is MTV is very early, and then you age into like what we would think as VH1 would be early MTV. I would think.
I just think it's incredible that like when the man Taurus always go like he doesn't make movies for kids. He makes movies about grown-ups. And when he was making these early movies, everyone's like, this guy's making fucking movies for kids. What's this kiddie bullshit?
I guess that's right. That's how it goes.
Yeah,
right?
I just know I want my Man TV.
Hey. On that note.
On that note, end this podcast.
Yes. Finish it. We hate movies. Everyone should be listening.
Yes, please do listen to our show.
Yeah, you could find us at whmpodcast.com and wherever podcasts are available. I do want to quickly tease something, if that's okay.
Oh yes,
that's
please.
Okay. We will be. People always ask this because we don't go out there very often, but we are going to be doing a West Coast tour in November, early November.
Okay. Give a lot of heads up for all our West Coast. Do you have a name for your listeners? Is there like a...
No,
because our fans are blanky.
Yeah, I saw the blanking.
Yes.
We've been thinking about it, and like haters just doesn't work.
Movers.
We started our show in 2010, and it was a bad name. It was a fine name. It's okay, but I think we said hate-a-lows once before.
Halos?
Hate-a-lows, like Juggalo, but hate-a-lows.
I mean, I think that's really good.
That's up Griffin's alley.
That's
okay, good.
alley.
Well, if Griffin likes it, we'll keep it.
Yeah, cool. So all those West Coast hate-a-lows.
Come on out.
Yeah, come on out. Thank you all for listening. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe. Thanks to Andrew Gudo for our social media, Joe Bo and Pat Rounds for our artwork, Liam Montgomery for our theme song. Go to blankies.reddit.com for some real nerdy shit. Go to TeePublic for some real nerdy shirts. Patreon, blank check bonus features where we do commentaries on franchises. And I guess we're now committed to doing all of the airport movies someday.
Sure. Right. Yeah, that's on the list now.
Yeah.
That's in the hopper.
That's going to be the next one after the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
The obvious next franchise to cover.
It's like this. It's the 70s MCU, basically.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, come on. And as always, Hannibal Lecter is Addy.